And welcome to LAWhammer! Right, so this week I have a host of things to say. Number one, we have no Andy.
Yes!
Number two, we also have no Corner Goblin, which is very sad. Get well soon, Erin. We understand that you are at home feeling very, very poorly. It does mean that we may have some fun technical issues during the course of this episode. If we do, just live with it. We do. I'm sure it'll be fine. So, what are we doing today? There has been a bit of a question raised over on Discord as to, well, if someone's going to be missing, are we doing a special show? Are we doing a different show? You're going to find out. You may already note, if you are canny and wise, that if we go back to the full screen and you see everyone, there are different names over there. Who are they going to be playing today? Well, we will cover that in a moment. But before we do, I have a couple of things to say. Number one, I have to bring it up every time. Dark Deeds! Dark Deeds is literally about to be shipped out from the various warehouses. The US warehouse first, and I believe the week after will be the UK warehouse. So sometime the next week or two, you should hopefully be getting emails saying, hey, your pre-order, it's about to come. And if you're not getting that pre-order, I do have to ask, why haven't you pre-ordered?
Talk oddly.
If you don't know who Hawk is, should you just be randomly watching this? He's one of our moderators and he's literally the best. Or alternatively, if he catches you doing thumbs up when you don't want to be doing thumbs up, he is literally the worst. Thanks, Hawk. Right, so number one, done. Number two, we are returning to Inside the Rookery this weekend, which is going to be super fun. So I am going to pass over to a super panicked Lindsay as she tries to figure out what on earth she's going to say as she tries to remember also what we're covering. Let's find out if she does. Ping, ping, ping.
This week on Inside the Rookery, I will be meeting Andy Law and Mark Gibbon to talk about the world of Dark Deeds.
Oh.
Is that it? That was easy. Okay, superb. Yes, it's going to be welcome to Anthran. We're going to be going through the course setting, I suppose, of the game, and also discussing how that core setting could work inside other games, because if you didn't know already, we're kind of intending on playing Dark Deeds in character. Yeah. Because there's going to be a certain not dead character who is definitely not dead, who is going to be introducing it to the group for a little bit of side fun. Lucas definitely isn't dead. He's definitely not dead.
Marguerite.
I mean, if you listen to anyone other than perhaps Gerhardt, you might...
He's 100% undead.
Yeah, exactly. So,
right, I'm with you now.
you caught up.
I was like, he's not fucking dead, what's going on? And I remembered the game that we play.
Yeah.
I remembered that.
They played.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, we'll just speak to Lucas. No, he's dead. Oh, yes.
Yes, let it go.
I forgot. So, today, what are we doing? Well, you're going to find out once we start. The episode's called Aftermath, episode 44.1, for those of you who like numbers with points and dots and stuff. This one is going to be very much, when your glorious heroes do glorious things, what does everybody else think? It's the morning. The morning sun has risen, and it being Middenheim has cast its light right across the front of the city. Making its way with a long hood over their face, a single figure looks around and then passes down into a side alley. On the wall, there's a great big poster. Come and see the new Graf's champion, Bradford. It says. Then underneath it, Brad the Pit Fighter, best in Middenheim. He passes by that. Looks by, pushes back the hood, and immediately shows that anyone thinking it was a him is wrong, as blonde hair spills. Takes a step, goes up to a door, stops, opens it, listens, says a few words of magic, and one eye flashes, and then passes into the door. A large meeting room. Big circular table. Many empty seats. 5 are already sitting there. And they are all really quite different people. On the opposite side of the room, there's just a single door that comes in. The room itself is wood panelled. Each one of the primary panels has a relief carved into it, and the relief itself is painted. Each one of these reliefs shows a great feat from Middenheim's past. In one, you can see a great general spearing through an orc. In another, you can see a great general who is spearing through some undead, skeletons falling down beneath his mighty spear. In another, you can see a great general facing off against humans because civil wars happen. Mm-hmm. And in the Empire's history, a lot of them. They outnumber the rest. It's interesting that the great victories of Middenheim are measured in human blood more than they're measured in anything else. Interesting in particular, given what the gathered people are here for. The door, the single door in, opens up. And a brown-haired woman comes in. Looks at everyone, almost gives a sigh of relief, and then pads over and scrapes back one of the high-backed chairs. Each one of them are tall, easily 2 heads above any of the people that are sitting in the room, and in a couple of cases, a good bit beyond that. And angled down straight, like it's a small representation of the Fauschlag itself, the Ulrichsburg where Middenheim sits atop. And you can see a representation of the palace atop that. Behind each and every one of them is the skeletal symbols of House Hellstein. Because that is where everyone is. Down in one of the many meeting chambers in the Hellstein estate. She sits down and goes, I'm sorry to say that this is everyone that will be coming today. This isn't going to be like our previous meetings. There have been some developments at the court in particular, where some of our number are currently engaged dealing with our elect account, handing out things to... Well, we'll get to that soon. I am aware that you don't all know each other, so I suppose some introductions are worthwhile. The 5 in the room look at each other. They do indeed not know all of each other, but some do. One of them in particular is a newcomer, a halfling in the corner. An old man with a somewhat garrulous look to his face. His hair in the centre looks like once it would have made a wonderful centre crest, but now it's so thin, there's barely any of it left. Scraggly hair to either side, and a face that looks like it might be happier shouting at a child than it would be doing almost anything else. Nevertheless, for all the natural grumpy place that it sits at, as it's clearly going to be him who's introduced first, a small smile hits his face, as he turns around and says, we have an agent from the Imperial Court. He says, I'll let him introduce himself. He is perhaps known to some of you already, perhaps not by name, but certainly by deed. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Okay, so I'm going to start with an accent. I will probably drop it because I can't do
Well,
anything
give it
but
a go.
Irish accents. I need to look at my name as well. Ayo, I'm Ali Brunton, Ale for short, Skelf Cider. And contrary to my looks, I'm an assassin. And I'm here on the Imperial Court.
Interesting. An Imperial assassin. A good start. It's also fair to say that no one would have expected such a thing. Not that you wouldn't have expected an assassin. You just wouldn't have expected it to appear like this. An old granddad of a halfling who's got quite the belly to him and relatively scrawny appearing arms. Although it's fair to say they're all covered up, so maybe not as scrawny as you first thought when he sort of hobbled his way in.
Oh, I'm also a writer. But mainly the stabbing.
Okay.
Nobody knows him by face, but a couple of you know him by deed. The first is yourself. We'll get to who she is in a moment. Lindsay's character for just now. Second is yourself, Ed's character, both of whom have heard of Hale, but not because of his book. Actually, 100% because of his book. You read it. It was a marvelous read. The hijinks of an assassin who fine dines every single one of his targets before he kills them. Sometimes they don't know. Sometimes it's a week before. Sometimes it's 5 weeks before. But he always gives them a marvelous, marvelous send-off before he murders them. It is an honestly brilliant book because it was a superb piece of fiction. That makes you concerned? Especially because one of them involved the murdering of an Electra Count.
What?
Sorry. Political assassination. Because that's better, right?
Yeah.
Sanctioned murder.
Yeah. By the opposite side.
By the
You
right
have
side.
also read this book. Parts of it, at least. Flick, 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 flick. Interesting, flick, 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 flick. Interesting, flick, flick, flick. And you, on your side, had attempted to see whether it was real. So you've done a little bit of research to try and tie potential unexplained deaths with what was in the book. And you think that he may have been responsible, if it is indeed true. And it was, you were young, but you nevertheless tried. You think very possibly that the Electra Count of Sudenland, 2 back. But if that's the case, he's been operating for at least 50 years. Which, given the age of the halfling, could very well be the case.
He's sitting back, kind of noticing if people are recognizing the name, and his little legs are kicking on the end of the chair.
He has a big cushion. But the cushion isn't to give him the extra height. The cushion, in his case, is to try and cushion his extra width of his bottom. Because he gets very sore if he's left in a big, heavy
I'm
wooden
old.
chair. Beside him sits a dwarf. Her hair in thick braids. The most notable thing about this dwarf, a dwarf that 3 of you know by reputation, is her hands. She goes by the name of Half Hand. You know this. But she only has a thumb left. All the rest of her hands are made of mechanical joints, which have been attached to mangled remains of hand. And they articulate and move. They've got no obvious, for those of you who are capable of detecting such things, magic or anything similar to that. There's no runes glowing on them. They just appear to be mechanical contraptions that are quite effective. Indeed, there has been, in the time that she sat there, a certain amount of picking things up, putting them down. In many respects, showing the quality of the engineering that sits behind them. She's dressed somewhat scruffily, like she may have been running around on the streets for some time, and the reason that some of you know her is because she is a known agitator in Middenheim. And that goes for you 3 have heard of her, you 2 in particular. An agitator against the Todbringers. Someone who believes that the Todbringers are responsible for all of the ills that Middenheim, and indeed by extension the Empire, have thrust upon dwarfs of all kinds. You know her for another reason. She's been in your employ for the last 5 years as a saboteur, working on the front lines at all the way up in the Middle Mountains at Brasskeep, attacking the Middenheim forces, blowing them up and blaming it on other people. By your direct order. As she says, she may require no introductions to most, but I do believe it's probably worth introducing yourself, if you would, please.
Name's Erdmila Hafand. Name from a while ago. Representative of the dwarves.
So, that is our dwarf representative, our representative of the Imperial Court. Now, we have a relatively new face to our meetings. He's not sat in any of our meetings before. However, I've discussed with him in the past some of the things that we have done. He has been, I am blunt, he has been appraised of everything that we are doing and is in complete support of everything we discussed before. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, please, sir.
Looks around slowly. Reads his name again on the Ulrich Ulrichsson. Returns to seating.
Oh, did you stand up for it?
Yes.
As she says, Ulrich is an associate of Pilbury, whom, of course, you all know. Pilbury has left to try and secure the warpstone shipment that we heard of, and we hope that that will be successful, because if so, that will deny our enemy of one of their greatest weapons. He intends to use this to further his experimentations with wizards, and he believes that he's now at the point where he can, in fact, if you could have a note. I shouldn't like to put words into his mouth. He couldn't come today, obviously, because he's part of the... here we go. No, I'm not going to read that. It's, I'll summarize. In fact, I'll paraphrase. He is quite convinced that... Oh, my. He is quite convinced that he can finally create wizards. And he believes that he'll be able to do it within the next 4 or 5 years. He has been on the cusp of this for some time, but he has made some significant advancements of the discoveries that we ourselves, our council, have put in place for him. He's obviously very weak, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. And I know we've discussed this before, my lady, but he's not one for exaggeration or hyperbole. When he believes that he has actually made a significant step, she pauses. No, I think I'd better be blunt again. I think it's the warpstone which has changed his opinion. He's been tracing our pure source of warpstone for some time, and has been working on traded pieces, most of which have been refined or impure. This part apparently comes from a source that he'd had access to before, one that he had been withdrawn from having any access to for reasons that we've previously discussed. Obviously, you're not aware, sir. Doesn't really matter. I've informed you of most of the details. He believes that if he secures this warpstone, which is currently making its way up into the foothills of the Middle Mountains, that he will be able to finally do what needs to be done. And if that works, as you all know, that means we will have magisters from anyone. Which is significant. Significant. But that's not the order of the day. Moving around the table, she obviously requires no real introductions to most, but if you would, please, ma'am.
I'm Jasper Kishling. I'm the wizard. Committed to the cause.
We've been working with her pretty much since the beginning. She is our spy. You won't know this. She can access any of the courts with ease. She can access anywhere in Middenheim with ease. She generally takes the form of animals. And sits and she watches. She has been our primary source of information concerning these Jagers, and has been our primary source of information concerning everything that's happening with the Todbringers. She is, without doubt, our most important asset that we have, which I think is important for yourself, particularly given that before we had our meeting, you were having discussions as to what you were here to do. She could very well be core towards that. But by the end of this meeting, we can decide exactly where that's going to lie. Finally, our host. She looks at you.
Lady Adelaide of House Hellstein.
Lady Adelaide of House Hellstein is dressed in black, top to toe, heavy jewellery, and bones, and a skull sitting in the centre of it. Her skin itself is also super pale, in stark contrast to the far more healthy skin from the woman who's sitting beside her. She has cold eyes that make them pop. As always, I shall sit as chair. She says, we have one primary point to consider on our agenda, and that is what has happened in the palace with the recent assassination attempt that failed, what has happened to our ally Dagmar, and what has happened to everything. So, I know some of you are aware of this, but I think it is important that we start the conversation. I think primarily we have to be aware that Dagmar failed. His attempt to kill Boris Todbringer was interrupted by the Jagers, who we were aware of and were difficult to track. Just as we were at the point where we were going to succeed, they came almost from nowhere. We don't know how they managed to hide themselves throughout the course of the day, but they did. And very, very late in the day, minutes before he was about to conclude what he was going to do, they just appeared. And he attempted to hold them off, but there were multiples of them, and Boris Todbringer survived. Now, we already know that these people are, well, we have some hints and rumours, I'm sure, some of which will be shared by you when you share your individual pieces of information. But from what I can say at the top, they are almost certainly cultists of the Dark Gods. Each and every one of them.
Wouldn't surprise me.
We have confirmed truth that these Jagers have been responsible for summoning demons and using those to further their plans. And they have to be stopped. But of course, Boris, who is as deep in this as everyone else, he has awarded them the highest order of Heroes of Middenheim. He has titled them and given them the Silver Claw, which of course he has done, granting them some significant influence in the city, which is going to make it more difficult for us to do our job. And further has tasked them to hunt down Dagmar, which is going to make it more difficult for us to try and find where he is. Now, I don't know where he is, but I do believe that one of our number might have been watching in and is aware loosely of where he might have gone. Is that correct?
I have a inkling.
Could you tell us what you know?
So, in my various guises, I believe he may have gone literally underground.
Yes.
Obviously, under the city is Warren and Dwarvish tunnels. If he's any sense, he's probably hiding out and they're waiting for us to find him.
Now, from what I can tell from the palace, they are spending a day to organise themselves and prepare for an expedition down there, which means that we have about a day to decide what we're going to do, which brings us to the point of this particular meeting. Our attempt to kill the Todbringers has failed. It has failed. And Dagmar has almost certainly been injured, and he's fleeing, and has no way, I imagine, if he has gone down there, to find his way back, which is our first issue. But our primary concern is not our erstwhile ally. Our primary concern is the Todbringers themselves and these Jagers and what exactly we should do. And this is where we stop to say, if they come up with a plan that convinces me that is extraordinarily good, they will all get one fate point. And the plan is killing their own PCs. And then move back.
But let's get Gerhard first.
That's easy. Just like get some art and some like concession.
A takeaway from his favourite Bretonian restaurant.
I agree that that must be an immediate priority. But I must reiterate once more that my family will invade Middenheim if the Todbringers are not brought down. We have failed this time, we cannot fail again, and we must try again. If we do not, he will take us to war in the south. We must do this for the Empire.
How long do you think it'll be before your grandfather moves? She asks.
He will move soon. Boris, I suspect, will declare his intention soon.
I met your grandfather. Do you think he will move before Boris declares war?
I know what you meant, but I was reiterating that Boris will move soon. My grandfather will move...
Sooner?
No,
Later.
just after.
You might not know. I don't know how aware you are of the politics of the North. The Hellsteins lie just across the border from Middenheim, and the Hellsteins are not underneath Todbringer rule, although one branch of the family is within the Duchy of Tugendheim. And the Hellsteins have been, by order of Karabag, preparing for war, because Karabag itself was recently besieged by forces from the south. And as we've discussed previously, and I discussed it to a degree before we began, but as we've discussed previously...
I had a brief.
Yeah. The Todbringers are preparing for war also, but their war is quite different. They intend just to invade southwards. They intend to just go. And that is a civil war between the provinces. That is quite different to what is happening potentially here. So our grandfather...
My grandfather will move at my word. If we will invade Middenheim with the Northern Midland Lords. But if there is an alternative, I will advise him thus, and he will listen to the quiet words of death.
We're attempting to avoid civil war here. Boris is going to go to war, so he has to be stopped, and as we've already said, for other reasons, he has to be taken out. So now is our opportunity. We have perhaps a day, perhaps a bit more, where everyone else is together. So that being the case, does anyone have any ideas as to how best proceed here?
Well, perhaps I can interject. And the Emperor has declared that Boris must die. And I'm here to... I've lost the accent already. I'm here to make sure that happens. With your help. So how do we get him?
You need to start by taking out those Jagers. They are by far and away the biggest fly in this particular ointment.
But they have come from nowhere. Who are they? What are they?
Well, let me explain them to you. I've spent a lot of time keeping an eye on them, mostly in the form of a crow or a raven. They don't seem to pay very much attention, so it allows me to keep a track of them. So let's start with Gerhard of House Jungfreud, nobleman, prone to long soliloquies and very little action, but very smart, obsessed with traps within traps. He's an idiot.
It's all a surprise to us, like we don't know any of this.
You don't know all of this.
Yeah.
You know some of.
Yeah.
Okay. And in constant companionship with him is a blind priest of Sigmar who we believe is not only blessed, but also gifted with a particular type of sight. He seems to have
I
visions.
shall move on that one. Cursed would be better than blessed.
Wow.
I did not recall.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Apologies. And then we have Yume, Sume, different names, always the same person. Nipponese, related to the ambassadors. Quiet, fairly unassuming, but can't be underestimated given what we saw yesterday.
Further, I think it is worth adding and confirming. I have had it confirmed. She was the one responsible for summoning the demons in the High Temple of Ulrich. She was the one who was responsible for desecrating that temple. And because of the support of House Todbringer, she was not punished. Indeed, I hear letters were sent from the palace demanding that she be extracted from any particular repercussions that she clearly should have received.
They have the honor of cats, and this should be made known somehow.
This is why these Jagers are so dangerous. They get away literally with murder and other things, and yet somehow the Todbringers always seem to rush to their rescue. There's a tall girl who may or may not be a offshoot of the Hellsteins. That's a matter of some debate.
It's not a matter of debate. She's just been legitimized by House Hellstein under the order of Boris within the small quarter of the family that was held within his own lands in Middenheim against the desires of House Hellstein, might it be said.
Are they Todbringers?
It is a disgrace.
The links between the Todbringers and these Jagers are indisputable. They have obviously all fallen, and they are part of the same cult.
Moving on to the more dangerous members of the party, and don't underestimate any of them. They have a bright wizard, who I believe was instrumental in thwarting Dagmar, having spoken to various people who were there and having collected some information. And also,
I should like to, if you don't mind me
Of
interrupting
course,
as well,
yes, please
all the
do.
time, make it very clear what that means. As I think can be confirmed, says by our guest wizard here. Dagmar was and is, one hopes, a sorcerer of almost no equal. There is no one that I have seen that even comes close to him.
he should have been unassailable.
He should have been unassailable. Yet somehow this wizard stopped him. And as we have already previously surmised, they are probably calling upon dark powers, and we now have the proof.
Is this your assessment?
Yes, it is.
We discussed it out beforehand. And he was equally shocked now. He met Dagmar several times, and as you said yourself, he is clearly extraordinary at what he does.
I've travelled many lands. Nothing like what he has, I have seen.
And that's worrying.
It should have been easy.
It should have been, for all the plan had begun to fall apart, he was still in a position where he was unassailable, and he decided to take direct action. He should have succeeded, yet somehow failed. And again, I do agree with the assessment that this wizard cannot be underestimated. Indeed, much of our power should probably concentrate on somehow bringing not just him low, but diminishing whatever power he might have, because clearly he has been lying to his college. He has been lying to the Empire as a whole. He is no simple wizard of the Bright Order. Now, the obvious conclusion is that he is a chaos sorcerer. Let us be blunt. He is a chaos sorcerer, and that is what we're contending with. And that is what we must plan to destroy. I'm just a smith.
I hear he's handsome too. So
Number 8.
these Jagers then, are they around him all the time?
Recently, yes. Although one of them has been absent. Young Freud's fiancée, the Lady Magritte. another wizard, I believe of the Amethyst Order. Hasn't been seen for at least a day. Wasn't there during the fight, but I can't imagine for a moment that she wasn't somehow in.
Now, Magritte is someone that you've met. You met her when she was young, passing through Wittgenstein. And that was about 40 years ago, just as you were first returning and everything had so massively changed. And it's hard to believe that she would be on the other side, but, you know, they were dealing with very dark and dangerous things. It's no surprise that one of them might fall. You never really agreed with the Wittgenstein.
So she is not one of your sorcerers?
No. And there was an advisor who, unfortunately, met his end. We don't need to worry about him terribly much, but there's also the...
That's not true. It come to my attention that this man is probably the root and primary contact between the Todbringers and the Jagers. This man is a bastard of the Todbringer line and has been working as one of his external agents for possibly decades.
Bloody Todbringers!
Another bastard. He writes something down.
And he has been working clearly as the primary conduit, passing information between one side and the other, tying these Todbringers to these Jagers.
Is he as despicable as that other bastard?
Well, I don't know him personally. I've not met him. They were asking around for us, not that they knew they were. And they tried to pretend that he'd been killed, presumably realizing he was a weak link or something similar. That he'd been assassinated by one of their own. I don't even want to say this. We had already determined that they were probably working with demons. One of their experiments failed and attacked him, and they decided to try and blame that on others. They took advantage of the situation that they were in, obviously.
How long have you been following these people?
Weeks.
And who is who would you say is their guiding star?
I think the elf is the most problematic.
You never mention an elf.
What elf?
That's because I hadn't finished.
I wasn't aware there was an elf.
Yes.
Please continue.
Holds her arms. Yes, please, continue.
She is always where they are. And where they are, we cannot see. Except with actual eyes. They resist our magics. Maybe she is the reason they were able to move around. Through stealth or elven magics. I know very little of that kind.
Who is she?
Alamenowith, I believe is her name.
Alamenowith.
Yes,
That's a relatively famous name.
it is.
Do I know them?
You won't. You will. You won't. You won't. You will. You recognize it as the name of the Witch of the Woods. Long believed to be the murderer of humans in North.
Do Imperial Dwarves also hate elves? Or
Yeah.
All dwarves.
No.
Yeah.
You kind of don't care,
Oh, okay, cool.
but you still hate them.
Okay. Bloody algae.
You're passively racist.
You're more of an equal opportunities hater.
Passively
I think.
speciesist.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do not know. What is this?
Can you sort down elves?
What is she?
I know of who she is.
You know who she is, or you think she might actually be.
Yes. If what you say is true. It's likely that she is known as a witch of the woods. You may know it as a story or a fable, a parable, something to be afraid of in the night.
Other ravens are attracted to her, is how I was able to get close.
Oh God. Well, that's what the legends say. She
Ra-
uses ravens as their eyes.
Ravens are associated with more, right?
Yes. She's the witch of the woods. She takes all that is good and turns it dark. You must sacrifice blood just to even speak with her.
Well, what hold does she have over Moore's eyes?
That I cannot tell you.
That is terrifying.
So individually they are quite powerful, but collectively they represent a real danger.
Well then, how do we deal with that? Yes.
Does Hale, like, what's his knowledge of elves?
You just stab them, they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like...
they're extremely arrogant.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to kill them is to poison them.
But as annoying as they usually aren't enemies of the Empire in terms of they've not
he's
fallen.
killed several elves, and several of them...
It's because they're inconvenient as opposed to...
No, quite the opposite. They were corrupting other elves or trying to spy into. He's been hired by elves to kill elves, who they said were fallen, and he did. And one of them proved to be almost better than you in combat.
Right.
You were younger then.
Quite as experienced.
And what does she do other than protect them? Was she a key part in Dagmar's loss?
She lectures them a lot, I've noticed. At length. They don't really listen. It's really hard to say. Obviously, there's only so far I can go eavesdropping without being noticed, even in my various forms. But, yes, she advises, is the best I can say.
So she may be the ringleader if we took her out? They might be...
I don't know. The wizard bothers me.
I'd rather just kill them all, if that's at all possible.
It would be the
Well, I
wisest
was-
choice.
I know we are
Thinking in the
diminished in
order.
numbers, but I think it'd be quite easy if we could just take a moment and consider our individual capabilities and strengths and think, what could we do to attack swiftly and decisively? It's late in the day. If we don't move now, there's likely to be an invasion, yes.
Out of character, what
Yes.
do we know her as?
You don't, she's just a chair.
Okay, no, we don't
Just-
have a name.
You just call her the chair.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's got 4 legs.
Mutant.
I've been saying all along, blow him up. Doesn't matter if there's less of us. We can always get explosives. Blow him up.
They're going to be heading down. We know they're going to be following Dagmar. We know they'll be in the tunnels.
Could even blame the wizard.
What about snipers? I mean, you can't dispel a bullet.
Where would we find such?
Recently, there was a witch hunter killed by a sniper.
I read it in the broadsheet.
Yes, quite. And he was significant. The problem is that they have witches, as I'm sure that some of our more learned members can confirm. They sometimes sense danger, meaning that I think there's perhaps something to be said about explosives. Because that's a wide area, the United States. It makes little difference if the entire palace goes.
And it can be set in advance, so there's no one individual intent to be picked out of a...
But you need to know where they're going, eh?
No. You just take out the Hill Palace. The
Before they
cats
leave?
will go to...
Well, here's my opinion, right? Your man, Dagmar, sounded like he went on a full frontal assault. Why? Why make it...
Don't worry about it, just
Yeah.
let it go.
Why?
You just be you.
Armadillo. That's how I get it in my head. Why make it... Why make it so obvious? I'm just give it up. Just give it up. Fair enough. Cut it in.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that was his original plan. I think it was. I think that was his plan
Yeah,
B.
From what I hear, he's gone in the middle of the night and just attacked them in his home. Not quite so.
It should have worked anyway. The power he wielded was extraordinary. I believe that this group, these people are part of prophecy. It is prophetic that they are here and able to. I believe the supposed weakest link, as you describe, this foppish, arrogant,
Noble.
foolish noble. What was the name?
Chubby noble.
Gerhardt or Werhardt. Or something.
A staff name. Well, I believe he is part of a larger thing. The purple hand, stained hand, I apologize, shall guide behind the throne.
And you believe that to be him?
I do, yes.
Why?
It makes no sense. All these other people described, except maybe the wee girl, have something about them. Powers, influence, sight, admittedly a cursed one, and some sort of stuff. It's strange to do this voice. He feels the right one.
But what about the white-haired one? If she is of Hellstein stock, she will, although debased, undoubtedly be of quality.
Well, we've already done some preliminary investigations, and I do think there is one thing worth noting concerning this Gerhardt, particularly given you bringing up a purple and stained hand. He was noted by our extended spy network to have had a purple hand for some significant time.
Stained hand guides.
And he has used magic to hide it.
A witch too.
I believe so. I'm not sure for certain. It could have been one of the party that hid in his behalf. And it's also worth noting that he has managed to secure significant funds, apparently, down in the town of Bergenhafen, where the Jagers there killed all of the ruling class of that particular town, and then left without any problems.
I saw the aftermath.
Did you?
I did. I have been following this trail for a while.
How were they murdered? What, was it the wizard?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yes.
Yes? Yes.
So he is more than he seems, perhaps.
He also set ablaze an entire town, which then proceeded to say that they had saved said town.
If we
That was
believe,
Wittgenstein.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe the fire is still burning.
Wittgendorf. I believe, actually.
Wittgendorf.
if we believe that the elf is protecting them somehow, could we do a two-pronged assault and try to separate her from the sheep that you say she herds?
It's hard to get a shepherd away from his flock. Not impossible.
I as you say, we don't have long. We need to be decisive, we need to act as quickly as they did, and we need to take them out. The one thing we know is where they are going to be. So do we blow up the palace and take out the Todbringers, and take out the Jagers separately as they go into the tunnels to protect Dagmar in the hopes that he's still alive? Or do we wait till they're all in the palace and blow them all to Kingdom Come and hope for the best? But given their ability to weasel out of traps, we would need to be sure.
Let me be clear. I'm just paid to kill the Todbringers. That's all I'm interested in, killing the Todbringers. Including this new bastard. Did we get a name?
Lucas
Lucas.
was under the name
He's-
of Lula.
He wasn't on my list, but I've been told to wipe the family. So I'm not
All of them.
all of them. There can be no remnants of the line. They'll rally around Heinrich, is what I'm told. So I'm not interested in killing more people, just my contract.
Okay.
So we meet them.
Once these Jagers leave the palace, we blow it up.
I would support you. I believe the Todbringers, wiping them out is key to saving this empire from civil war. And my family will throw ourselves upon this unyielding rock to do that, even if we die to the last child. He
And-
must be stopped.
Might I ask you to confirm, Lady Hellstein, if the Todbringers are successfully removed and if the Hellsteins replace them, you are confirming that your family does not intend to continue any further martial southern campaigns?
Absolutely. Boris is going to invade south. He must be stopped. We would never do such a thing. Middenheim is our home, not theirs. That is our care and our duty.
I think the Emperor's court agrees.
Solemnly.
If I may add to this collaboration, I believe we should keep the explosions, whilst effective, as a secondary backup machination. We wish for the Empire to be strong, yes, hence our actions. And we can say and see that the Wolf Palace is a position of power, one where even a small family can control a large environment. To explode and destroy such a bastion would be a terrible waste.
You're talking, of course, of the symbolism of the palace and who dwells within.
Yes.
Level it. I see your point.
So there are 5 of them now. There were 4. When I awoke this morning, there were only 4. And now, like the rats that they are, there are 5.
Could be more.
Heinrich, Boris, Luca, Katerina,
And Stefan.
and Stefan.
Who by all accounts is knocking on the door anyway. Good sir,
Yes.
what do you do?
I am a wielder of
Shaish.
Shaish,
Go on.
also known as a amethyst wizard.
Same as your fiance.
And for those of us who don't do magic,
I deal in the
Like-
wind of death.
so we're in a fight, right?
Yes.
What do you do?
I can summon forces.
Good job.
This is the next conversation. And how do you do it?
Let's say, should I come upon a corpse, I can reinvigorate said corpse skeleton.
What?
Is that right? Have I
Let me
gone
be
too far?
clear. No, you are absolutely clear.
Yes, that is exactly what I
Let me
do.
be
Tell
clear,
the time.
so that we understand exactly what we're dealing with. Because there could be some tension here if we are not clear. And I think we should be clear. This wizard was trained some time ago by Imperial command so that he could take action against the Lords of Death by use of their magics. And whilst I understand there are those here who will find that an unacceptable outcome, it was deemed important at the time that that magic be understood so that it could be combated. And he has been responsible for bringing to an end multiple necromancers, liches, vampires, through his knowledge of what they can do and wresting their forces from them to throw back at them himself.
Lady Hellstein, she hasn't gone paler. She couldn't possibly. She's just got like 2 bright spots in her cheek. Her cheeks are going bright red. I would like to hear from your lips that you have never used the powers granted to you by the gods for your own betterment or benefit or luxury or pleasure. From your lips now, sir. or you will leave my house.
You can rest easy. I do what I do for the will of Magnus the Pious. I operate under his writ, his will, and I believe the Todbringers have stepped far from it. So I shall use my power to bring about their end.
He may be old, but Magnus ain't the Emperor no more, right? Does he know?
The girl, the Todbringer girl. Are your orders also to kill her? If she were to marry, she would no longer be of the house. She
Well,
could be useful.
If she marries in the next day, but yeah,
She
I was
might,
told all 4.
She may. She
Well,
could be our root.
I was told all.
All Todbringers.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't a Todbringer. If she were a Hellstein.
I believe she is a simpering fool who makes eyes at my
Which one?
um
That's your uncle.
at my uncle.
She's also been spending some time with the elf.
Pardon?
Pardon?
I thought it unusual that the Knights Panther were turning up to a particular house and escorting the elf away more than once to the palace. So I followed. And apparently the arrest by the Knights Panther was merely a cover for the two of them to get together. I wasn't able to get too close to see exactly what they got up to, but there's definitely a connection there. So she may have already corrupted her for all we know.
So, tabled there is the idea that Lady Katarina, currently of House Todbringer, could be married, possibly to House Hellstein, to legitimize their control. If the other Todbringers were removed and they were married into House Hellstein, then that would give a very strong reason for the public to accept the Hellsteins. And they would obviously accept them in time regardless, but historically, as we know, House Hellstein ruled here.
Yes. She is very popular with the people. She is highly regarded and would be, if she can be removed from their influence, potentially an asset.
If she could be used like a puppet, yes.
She doesn't need to be a puppet. She simply needs to provide marriage and consummation. After that, she can die for all I care. It would be tragic. The people would grieve, but my family would be there for the city.
For the city.
Do you know what rallies a people more? A unified enemy. Something I can provide. My skills allow the creation of animated corpses, skeletons. You would be seen for a while as an invading force, or somebody who has taken the throne, the positions of power, under duress. What if you were a savior instead? What if a force arrived outside the city? An obviously supposed evil force. Boris rides out to protect. You also come to aid. There could be a position where Boris falls to the evil invaders.
I certainly think there is merit in a force invading Middenheim to distract him from invading south, and then him riding out, and then the Hellsteins coming to vanquish a foe which is on our very heraldry. There is a story there that the people would like.
There would need to be someone to blame. There would need to be a victory. You have someone to stand in your place as a sacrifice.
I do, yes. Not that they are aware.
Good.
You mentioned this Jagers, the Jagers. I did not know them under said name. They are sticking to Boris.
Like glue.
Good.
And the Knight's Panther are it's like a hornet's nest. You kill a few of them and they all get very exercised about it.
Okay.
So we can assume that wherever Boris goes, he will be very well protected.
After the arrest stopped, after the attempt on Boris's life, has the elf dropped the princess like a hot stone?
They've not been seen together.
No, they have.
Well, they have.
Yes, very
They-
much so.
They have
Hanging
been.
around the gardens, wandering around hand in hand.
Yes.
Well, that doesn't make any
fresh.
sense.
Maybe they're friends. Or more.
So they are separate.
My understanding is that the elf is a degenerate. Did you see her dancing in the gardens? Have you heard?
Yeah.
I saw it. I felt nothing.
I think you were the only one that...
I am told it was very, moving for others.
Certainly very risque. Bawdy.
But what?
Going back to the plan. Okay, Boris rides out and fails to defeat a foe. What about the rest? How do we kill the rest? They deserve to die.
Stefan and Heinrich.
I shall add that's a very fine question, and possibly a question that to a degree has been partially answered by the fact that so many of the forces will have ridden out. The palace will not be defended. There'll be far fewer. It'll be down to a skeleton, well, perhaps an inappropriate term, but there'll be down to a skeletal number of people protecting the place, meaning it'll be easier to infiltrate, perhaps to sow discord in your preferred fashion, perhaps to sneak in and more easily.
Do the job for which you were hired.
Perhaps my uncle to take marriage vows the old-fashioned way. The Nordlander way.
I propose we sneak in the sewers, find them where they're hiding, stab them a couple of times.
Who, the Jagers?
No. Todbringers.
They're not
In the sewer.
in the sewers.
They're, you said underground, right?
No,
Dagmar.
Dagmar's underground.
And the Jagers will be pursuing.
But not to the Todbringers.
I've not been following this at all.
So Stefan is in the palace. He is an invalid. If the palace were reduced in staff, his staff would be accordingly reduced, and there is no way he could even get out of bed, let alone ride a horse. Katerina is a lady. She will not stir from that palace. Boris will ride out like the Ulrican gentleman he pretends to be.
Are you sure? I mean, he has been. He has been stymied in almost all ways.
I believe he will.
And we know why he's been stymied. Don't we? His wife.
Ah, yes. Rumour has it, or it seems to be, that this recent attempt on his life has reinvigorated him. He's been seen striding about the palace, barking orders at people.
It is on the talk of all
That's
the
not
lords.
what I was bringing up. I was meaning more his wife, the one that died,
Which one?
the second one, and exactly what she was.
Yes, there is that.
Well, out with it.
She dealt with the ruinous powers herself.
Let's be blunt. She told me this morning, which confirms so many things that we had been suspecting for some time, that they were working with the ruinous powers. His wife was a notorious cultist in the local area. Led a cult, in fact. Katerina is the daughter of a cultist. He lost his wife and was inconsolable because he knew what she was. They all know. They're all related to the same dark network. These Jagers, these todbringers.
Tainted.
Exactly. And the best way to bring them down, we know that they have magic that is too powerful for them. We know that they can draw upon powers that are far beyond their ken. They are everything that is going wrong in this city. And our question is, how do we remove them swiftly? And if it's not swiftly, what do we do instead? Are we going to go to effectively a proxy war to draw them out? Are we going to blow up the palace? Are we going to sneak in, assassinate, poison?
And if she is the daughter of a cultist, then perhaps sadly the slate must be wiped completely.
It's the orders. Emperor says they're out.
Once their name is cursed by the dwarves, that's all they are.
I'd say that perhaps we shouldn't be so hasty. There is no need to touch the woman to marry her. The benefits that she can bring can nevertheless still be brought. She can be disposed of afterwards.
Falling out of windows seems to run in the family.
Right. Then I believe if Boris were to be drawn out, Katerina as dealt with, you could easily, I am sure, deal with Stefan. But Heinrich, where is he?
He tends to be in the barracks. Boris keeps him at arm's length.
I have more information on that one. He is very recently ordered to Bratskeep of the Middle Margins, where you just come from, I'm sorry to say.
Well, the very least would be, I have contacts.
The order doesn't mean he's gone. Is he?
I don't know when he's going. I'm not sure when he's going. I just know that the order has been issued. That's what
It would be
my
easy
sources
enough
told
to
me.
fly by and see if he's still there.
Yeah. So there's the possibility he'll be out on the road, which is actually potentially a benefit because there'll be fewer people around him. But it is worth knowing if you're intending on taking him martially, he is known for his capabilities.
He's no
Right.
slouch.
I may not look it, but I'm no slouch, and I do my best work up close.
So perhaps in the night.
We just need to get me there.
I have read your book.
Do you like
Is
it?
Well, is it true?
Why wouldn't it?
It felt far-fetched. I was entertained at points.
He's got a big bag of treats, and he'll offer you one.
I will pass.
Sure?
Treats from the assassin.
Who
How could you?
fine dines as the victim?
I no longer taste.
Right.
What a horrendous existence.
Is it worth it?
To do the Empire's will. Yes.
Good answer.
Thank you. As such, Master Assassin, do you take on subcontracts?
No. I work on behalf of the court, and that's it. Cleaner that way.
Shame. Shame.
No collateral damage. No other killing. Just the target.
Just want to check. Can people actually hear me, by the way? It's from a chat.
And does it matter?
That's, keep playing. Like,
I love it, like an hour
Yes.
straight.
Yeah, I know.
No,
Just
we can't hear you.
not said anything.
Yes,
That's fine.
everybody can hear.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
All this stuff. I would have wired up the place by now. What are we doing?
Are you that effective?
Of
course.
Setting an explosive ain't no harm. Just set one. Doesn't mean you have to put it off.
But if we could draw Boris out, I do agree it would be unfortunate if the palace were to be destroyed. But if we were to draw him out and you had set
Sure.
The loss of a small portion of street is no loss to the Empire in fullness.
It's a big palace, though.
It is a very large
We've
part.
got enough explosives.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, time to rig them.
Wiggle fingers at.
Quack, quack, quack.
I mean, okay, you've got hands.
They move fast.
Mechanical.
So I think we need to take stock here. We, I think, have slightly different outcomes in mind. Some of us want to see the end of the Todbringers. Some of us want to ensure that these Jagers are brought low. Some of us have got their own personal reasons to bring out one individual in particular, believing that they are responsible for bringing some awful prophecy to pass. What we know for certain is that they are all cultists of the Dark Gods. So regardless of our individual opinions on the overall situations and our individual positions, it is our duty as people of the Empire to take them all down regardless. And preferably, contrary perhaps to your preference, without losing the palace, because it is an important symbol. But equally, if we can, I would argue, if we can prove that they have fallen before the explosions go off, then it would be a heroic action. And then I believe that your plan of action might be actually to the benefit of the people.
I agree.
Cleanse.
A symbol that is cleansed.
It has to come out that they have fallen. That Boris knew, fornicated with a cultist of the ruinous powers?
Exactly.
And allowed a child.
Allowed a child from such a union? That he willingly opens his palace to these dark sorcerers?
I have one other point that I would like to bring up too. And this is something that we've alighted upon once or twice in the past, but we've not really given any real measure or weight to. And that's really us three. The meeting as a whole has, but you've not been involved in any of this. And that is the question of the Knights Panther. The Knights Panther are reliably the most wealthy order of knights in the Empire. They are second to none. They have chapter houses, which I suppose is an inappropriate term, because they're not strictly speaking religious. In fact, they're not at all, although many are Sigmarite. They have barracks, let's call it that. I don't know the terminology very well. They have barracks across the Empire. Most major cities have them. They are in support of everything from ambassadors to Kislev to emperors, and importantly here, something more. They are bodyguards to the Todbringers. And I can't, and we can't, find any reason why that's the case. They wouldn't, the money, they couldn't afford it. The Todbringers aren't rich. There's not a great deal of money here. The tax haul from Middenheim is, and Middenheim in Nordland is, it's not as grand as it could be. They are not rich. So it's not money. So what hold do they have over the Grand Master of the Knights Panther? What tradition is in place here? And this concerns me deeply.
It has only been in place for a relatively short period of time, as we reckon things.
The order itself is 1,000 years old, and the order has had it has had influence with the Todbringers in the past. The Todbringers went before they were in Middenheim, in particular. And it's the Todbringers that they swear to, not the throne, which I think is extraordinary. So if the Hellsteins were to take control of Middenheim, the Knights Panther would leave, losing a significant part of the military force here. And again, one has to wonder, what do the Todbringers have over them? And given what we are very recently learning, cultists within their rank, they themselves are summoning demons, worshippers of the dark gods. One feels that they must have done some dark pact to control them. It seems to make sense to me, which means that I am no longer of the opinion that we should be careful of the Knights Panther. they themselves are as likely to be tainted as anything else.
They might pose a threat to the Hellsteins.
I mean,
I
be
think so.
careful as they're a fighting force, but
Yeah, exactly.
they've probably, from what you've said, fallen as well.
Well, they have a chapter house.
The Orden House Pantera. It's you've got the main palace, and to the side there's a large compound, a very large area. Why the Graf would give them that much space, I could understand, but why that much space would be worthwhile to them, I don't. Because the Knights Panther are wealthy enough to just buy something bigger and better anywhere in the Empire. But they have a large compound there, which I think it's fair to say we can confirm is attached to the old Dwarven sewer networks as well. So if we do wish to lay explosives there, it wouldn't be so difficult.
The one
I'd
thing
be happy with that.
we would have to be careful of is if we are going into the tunnels beneath. So are the Jagers, and we can't underestimate them. We made that mistake previously.
Would Ulrich be able to pick up on Marguerite as a fellow caster of questionable magics?
In what regard? Are you saying would he know? The answer is almost certainly yes.
No, I mean,
Would he be able to detect it?
yeah.
If he was close enough, yes. But if she's, say, deep down, probably not. It's going to be difficult through so much stone, different metals, and all the rest of it.
She's pretty deep down.
Which was the thinking.
Yeah, but if she's up near the surface doing anything, sure.
And then what about Digimar?
Exactly the same situation.
Right. Yeah.
The underground version.
Exactly. Yeah, Digimar. Is it worth trying?
Oh, right, no, not unless they're casting. You wouldn't be able to just find them. And they'd have to be working at something of
Yeah,
power.
power and interest. Okay.
And presumably if Dagmar's on the run, he'll be keeping that sort of thing
To the low.
Low,
Yeah.
yeah.
How about we compromise? We lure Boris out to he's only really going to go one way, right? Where the threat is. We go under, blow the road, kill him, go back in the castle, kill the rest of them. Stefan's not riding out.
The causeways are famously. I know this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The causeways are famously protected. Exactly so a besieging army could not do that as an aggressor.
But the castle's not.
Pardon? No, but but the causeways are also constructed so that the defender could blow them.
Yes.
Oh.
You just need to know the correct ritual.
So blowing the causeway is actually far more feasible than blowing up the palace, I believe, in that you would have to be, well, there are a lot of people in the palace who might see you about your work. It's not a battlefield.
Have I failed you in these last 5 years?
And she would, after all, be under it, in the sewers, not in the palace itself.
You have not failed me. I grant you that. If you say you can do it, then
Although, if you know how to blow these causeways up, I don't think she knows, right?
No, she doesn't.
That is not my area.
who would know?
Sadly, the Graf and whomever the Graf has given the necessary ritual to blow it.
Probably
Historically, the Law Lords.
Oh,
Well, Dagmar has been in alliance with these people, right?
Yeah.
Historically, it would be the Law Lords who would make the call,
he has
And
appointed
therefore-
a new one.
contain the ritual.
Which I find it very fascinating that they are the ones who happen to be entirely indisposed of dead.
But he has appointed a new one.
Yes.
Do we know who?
No, I just heard that he'd appointed a new one to get things moving in the palace.
Then to me, the sewers and part of the palace, one must sacrifice the limb to save the body.
However, we should have a backup plan as well.
Listen, if you can stab him, go for it. But stabbing's obvious. Stabbing leaves a mark.
Works too.
What if you stab him and move him and then I blow up a certain bit?
What if an explosion happens and he's not there?
That boy's not going anywhere.
But he might go another way. Hence, backup plans.
I do agree. Knowing that we have succeeded is better than just.
Your boy
Looking
Dagmar
at
didn't have a
us.
backup plan. Look what happened.
Yes, he was running his backup plan and it failed because his core plan had already been
The
undermined by
backups,
the
the
Jagers.
backups.
Yes, quite.
I've been doing this a long time.
How would you do your feast for these people?
I've been thinking about that. I don't have much time. So maybe I'll just throw my thing in their face and
Green pie.
it's not the most elegant.
Gummy wolf, anyone?
What about but
Sort
a
of a
feast?
last-minute
No,
job.
but a feast is perfect. Like the great enchanter himself.
They have cause for celebration.
Yes, a feast brings everyone together in one place. We would know where most of the prime feasting places in the palace were, so you could set up accordingly.
Could be in the Great Hall.
Likely the Grand Master would be there as well. The family would be there. The
You
only
could use
person.
their success against them.
Exactly.
Like the Jagers, though.
No, they would be there too.
Mm.
Because they are the heroes. We must entice them to arrange a feast in celebration. And as how could we get Stefan there? Or perhaps you could do that.
Get him
But then
there,
also
or
Heinrich. No.
Heinrich's not going to no feast.
You're
Well, he will do if he is told to.
You could dress up as a servant, bring the feast food to Stefan, and as he's eating, you stab him.
I could put explosives in the food.
It is likely
Great minds think alike.
if Heinrich
No,
has
I'm being facetious.
If Heinrich has not yet departed, it is likely, given the situation in that family, that he would be invited to the feast. For, you see, Boris, you may not know this, but Boris has the power at any moment to legitimize that creature. He chooses not to. Understandably, he is a base creature, although he wears a face of beauty and charm. But Boris has recently legitimized a Hellstein offcast. They are not fond of each other, Heinrich and the Graf. It is well known. He will turn the blade. A feast it must be.
Just seems to me that you're inviting more trouble
What?
with a feast. If we can isolate them instead of having these dangerous Jagers here, then we've got one less thing to worry about.
No, I disagree.
Is there not a risk to your own family with a feast? Would
My
they not
family,
be expected to attend?
my family will not attend a feast.
They were
No, not unless they are.
Celebrate the Todbringers.
It will be, and if they were summoned, yes, the penalty would potentially be death if they were not to go. But I will inform them not to go. It will be fine.
I mean, they attended the medal giving.
yes, they
a
did.
huge chunk of the Hellsteins were there. I mean, you were there.
But-
One of
but-
them was
but if we
point
knew-
blank refused entry.
But if we knew, but if they knew not to,
Yep.
the political cost of not going is going to be
Minimal.
small and short.
Yes.
100%.
Because it's not going to be an issue then.
Well said.
Plus, the feast was to help you out.
No, I know, but
No, the feast is a stroke of genius. This is why you're in my employ, because there is more to you than meets the eye.
that was his idea.
It was my idea.
No. Well, would you like a job?
What's the pay?
Food.
What do you value? That is what I will pay you. Now, to the feast, everyone. How do we organize
What, we're
it?
doing it now?
Flash forward.
Like, she's just like, we've decided we're having a feast.
You
You're
make
going
the
to blow them up.
pots. You go do the chicken drumsticks. I'll
So-
get the drinks.
It will be the Great Hall, so we will ensure you are guided to lay your explosives.
How are
Now-
we going to influence them to have a feast in such a short space of time? Surely it would have to be the graph that
My
commanded
thinking.
it.
This.
Going away.
My bastard party.
Feasts are
With
standard with us.
The Jagers.
Yes, as much as I like to agree, our lack of agents in the palace just now significantly stymies this.
Who would be a key person to arrange that within the palace?
I mean, Bruegel perhaps, but the Chamberlain would be responsible for organising it.
Could I just ask, have any of you ever been attempted to be assassinated?
Has somebody tried to assassinate me? Yes.
And after it, were you big on being in public spaces? Holding feasts and whatnot?
Um,
I
if
could not say.
If I may,
Oh, you may.
the palace is not a public space. It is owned, for the moment, by them.
Granted, but what I'm saying is he's not going to go anywhere without a lot of people around him, which is fair, but doing it in a private, public space might make it harder.
If you can
Now, if we can get him on the way to his feast or leaving,
if you get me to Bruegel, I can replace him.
who's Bruegel?
The Chancellor.
Chamberlain.
Sorry, the
What
Chamberlain.
about this man?
No,
He's the Chamberlain of the palace. We can replace him.
Yes, I just need to get him alone.
There is only one that you need to influence for this to work, and that is the stained hand that guides. This Gerhardt foppish character. Convince him that a feast is necessary. And from what you've told me and what I have seen, that should not be a difficult task, and the rest shall fall into place.
Chez Louis is. You've got
I'm
caterers
getting that
in.
pay point, I'm fucking getting it.
Get a Bretonian chef to come visit.
If you can replace Bruegel, that would be significant. Look, a midden... You do not cower in one's bedroom when you are a man like Boris. You cannot afford to.
He's been doing that for months. He stopped doing
He
that.
has stopped doing that now. He has survived the attempt. He believes if they are going after the person who did it, he probably feels safe now. The Great Hall is not public. I do not think you understand how much he feels that he owns the stones.
Well, as much as I like the idea, I just can't see it actually coming to pass.
Why?
Because there is no way to be certain, one, that it will come to pass, two, who will be invited, three, who'll still be there. The Jagers may have left. It may be too late. They may wait for the Jagers to return. Who knows when that will be. There's too many things that we can't plan for. What we can plan for is what we know. We know that Boris is in the palace currently. We know Katerina's in the palace currently. We know that Lucas is currently sitting on the Grapplats. We know that Stefan is in the palace. We know that Heinrich is on orders to go to Brass Keep. That we know. And that alone is enough for us to say, well, if they're all in the palace,
Strike now.
there is immediate, obvious plan. If we can move swiftly,
Yes.
we might not even need to sneak in to take out the Todbringers if we take out the palace.
Out
And
of
if we-
character.
Yes.
If I get to the Grafplatz and kill Lucas, or get extra fortune point rather than a
find
gun
out.
point, I kill Lucas.
I've spent
I'm gonna stab the shit out of him.
Not doing it again.
Carry on.
We may not get another chance, you're right.
And the advantage of this plan is if Boris is sending the Jagers after Dagmar, they will be out of pocket. They can't be in two places at once. They'll be under the city looking for him. They won't be at the palace.
I thought we were going to do it before they left.
That would be the plan.
Yes.
Well, that works as
Swiftly.
well.
Swiftly.
Mhm.
How quick could you be?
You could do it in the evening if you can get to the. If you can get someone to guide you to the sewers themselves, you're not sure where they are. But sure, you've never been down that way, but you've got no worry that if you can get down there and there's no one around, yeah, you could do the whole place.
That.
You probably need a bit of help. It's a lot of explosives. Quite a bit of help. But yeah,
Do you have the help?
I don't know. No.
you will need support from people.
Yes, I will need people who will do simple orders and carry things.
Oh, that's immediate ping, ping, ping from our Uruk fellow.
Yeah, what's my person's name?
Uruk.
No.
No.
My,
Paul guy.
Gaspar.
yes. I have someone who could help. And who is also within a reasonable place to take the fall.
Even better.
My apprentice.
And he might be able to, with guidance, handle it all, after all. If they just need mindless automatons to carry. That is very much inside his wheelhouse.
Interesting. This would work well.
Brains.
Oh, he's that sort of...
No, he's not, but he could easily animate a ton of corpses to remove all of the background.
Right.
He's too subtle for you.
I can say it straight.
There's tons of Night Panthers that are just dead.
I had a different thought for that. I just need to clarify one thing. Is my apprentice actually a...
No, he's an expert.
okay, he's just a person
Yeah, he's
that
a-
does
Make
need to
people
do magic.
look.
Right, fine, lovely. I'm with you.
Necromancer. Just a
Well,
necromancer.
the fewer that know, the better, of course. Is your person discreet?
Yes, it is something that is required in this profession.
And afterwards he would be blamed.
It is not the first time I have had to do a little 3-card Monty.
Plus, only if he's caught, right?
Yes.
It's better if he is.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than someone to blame.
Because then they won't look for anybody else. And then we can get on with the other business.
We can also use some of my compatriots. I'm talking about skeletons.
Right.
To be a distraction for the Knight's Panther, if necessary. I can cast that inside the... Yeah.
It might be worth redressing your original plan, actually, to create a diversion. To create something within town that they flock to, allowing then all of the black powder and explosives or whatever it is that you're planning to be put into place. And presumably there's a large casting that you manage down there that will cover any minor castings that they do with whatever you manage to summon through the sewers.
I wonder where they're keeping their dead.
Yeah. Where's the largest graveyard in...
Well, I was
um,
thinking of the Knights Panther who
Oh,
were killed
they-
during Dagmar's attack.
Yeah.
also good. There'll
They
be
want
shallow
to-
graves.
They won't have necessarily been buried.
No,
yet.
they'll probably be lying in the Garden of Moor just now. So
How do
they'll
you
be
feel about
protected.
Not good.
They'll be protected, but there is an alternative. Most of the and we lay this at the Todbringers. Most of the lower orders cannot afford to have their dead interred, so they're just tossed off the side.
It is a travesty.
And there are an uncounted number of old corpses at the base. But it is at the base, it isn't at the top.
Is Moore's Park...
Right, Moore's Park.
Yeah, so that's...
Where the Temple of Moor, the Temple of Moor,
Right.
the Moore's Garden is, yeah.
And my understanding is the way that Moore works is he shuffles the soul off into the right afterlife, right? When that happens, can I get my magic-y fingers on him?
Yes, you certainly can.
Superb.
Although those that are passed on by a blessed priest, their corpses never stir.
Okay. It's quite close to the graph plans,
Oh my god.
so it is very feasible.
It's very feasible. Although that would involve a raid on the Temple of Law.
Right. And you may have...
And they've got
They have people to stop this sort of thing?
surprisingly often no. You've been surprised at just how many of the Gardens of Moor are not well tended.
Because I've been to places where that is like a
Absolutely,
continual...
yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you've had to deal with necromancers who have quite literally just waltzed into places,
Interesting.
taken corpses, or just paid grave robbers to get them, and you've been responsible for taking them down. Now, you could take advantage of the fact that they are often not very well guarded. But you'll find some places have got knights,
Yeah.
Blackguard in particular.
Especially if
And
there's
then-
Knights Panthers
Yeah.
bodies in.
Do I know anything about that?
Yeah, the local Temple of Moor is not frightfully well guarded. The Mourners Guild deals with a great deal of the actual ceremony. The temple has a small staff. Sadly, it would be rather easy for a relatively well-armed group to do whatever it wished to do. It is sacrilegious and awful, but definitely potential. Far more effective in terms of numbers of corpses would be to take the ones that have been tossed over the edge. There's a little, if you look at the map, there's a little V cut in the top right corner, top left corner, pardon me. Right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Down at the bottom of that, so way down.
I see.
There's just a giant pile of corpses.
Next to the river.
Well, there's a little bit of a river wending out there.
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah, why wouldn't
totally.
you? It's your water supply.
And they literally just throw it down there. And they get tossed off the edge and left down there to be not necessarily tossed off that way. They are dead. But there is a reason that they often hire women to handle the... never mind.
Tossing off.
Anyway, that isn't what I was going to say. I was going to say something worse.
Let's
Because
gloss over that.
you can't hire men to do that job.
Out of question.
They're terrible.
Okay.
Oh.
They're the
Yeah,
worst.
the other way around. It's much worse.
Gross.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
I could not countenance disturbing the Garden of Moor.
Then there is also the opportunity of what lies over the edge. But I will say that it is far, far down. Is there any way that we could somehow get them from down there up to the sewers? Is there an easy way that we can somehow take them from the very base up to the top?
Are they good climbers?
I was going to say,
Some are. That would be a working.
Can I do, for lack of a better term, creative control
Yeah.
when it comes to building said skeleton?
Yeah, kinda.
Give them wings.
Yes.
You are quite capable of taking, say, for example, a skelly, and going, "Hey, skelly, you can climb."
Right.
Hey, skelly, you've got these skills.
Yeah.
Often requires a certain
4 arms.
type. Not normally.
Oh.
And that's a different type of magic. But you can imbue existing corpses with their. From your perspective, each one of these corpses are a fragment of a soul. They're a part of a larger soul. Which means when you pull a part together, all of that bit of soul goes together. You'd be then asking to combine separate souls. That is exceedingly complicated. Massive workings. But combining just a single soul, all the bones for that individual will just come up. Even if they're scattered, because you're just pulling that soul together. That's how you view it. You've got a host of quite Nehekaran terms for that. You have studied the old Nehekaran arts. And you can bring them together, and you can also imbue them with capability. You are quite convinced you could, if you were at the bottom, get them all to climb up.
Right.
They are tireless. They are quite capable. They will just keep on going. They won't necessarily be the best, and it doesn't matter if they fall, because they just get back together and they go back up
But
again.
wouldn't someone notice?
Yeah,
That's what we want.
not
we
quite
want them
subtle.
to notice.
That's what we want.
At night, no one would notice them
don't-
climbing up the
We
We don't
walls.
want them to
walls.
notice if we're using them for the sewers.
But they would notice a host of other things, like the skeletons coming over the top.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming through town.
Is it
How many do
possible?
you need?
I
How
thought we
many?
just needed a distraction.
That's all that they are.
You'd prefer about, if you want to do it in the night, you'd prefer as many as 20 to 30.
Oh, yes, I also need to...
Oh, this plan.
Yeah.
I presumably I can be like, right, 20 of you boys come with me, the rest of you up the walls.
Yeah,
Or
but how are you
is
gonna get
there
them up?
like
Up the
an
walls?
exit of the sewers outside the side of the mountain?
You don't know.
Oh, I'll use the Dice Panther.
Does anybody have sewer knowledge out of all of you? Not really. You've got the basics of it. Well, it's not the sewers that you get here in Middenheim.
Yeah.
You've
more
been in
more in
sewers
general,
all
sewers
the
would have a
time.
run out
Yeah,
somewhere,
it
so it
definitely
makes
will.
sense from geographically. But
So they definitely would, and that'd be a fine place to push them through. It would just take a small amount of spying, looking around. That'd be your job. You can turn into pretty much any animal.
You just fly up and have a look.
Yeah, you could
have a
go
look
find
out.
one of the
There's
and then you could just
Whatever's
brush it. Now,
needed.
will that working be detected? Very possibly, yes. That's when
We've got a full guy.
possibly that's when your apprentice comes in because he does a working up above.
Superb.
And the close one is the one that they will detect while you work down at the bottom at night.
So are your senses of enough acuity when you are in the form of these creatures that our dear sapper could take you down to where she wishes to lay, and you could sense the clean, fresh air from the outside and trace a path outwards that we could then use to get them back in? It would be the most efficient and time-effective way.
It depends on the creature that I decided
Truth be
to.
told, you lived in the sewers for over a year once. You have no real worry or concern. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know where the outlets are because you never went that far. You just live in the sewers. But could you find? You've got no problems at all.
Yeah. And I could pass and detect it.
Yeah.
Then I think that is the plan.
If you wish to move swiftly, we're suggesting that the plan is to have your apprentice do some major working in the city, whilst you, down at the bottom, organise a large enough work team to clamber up to wherever it is that they clamber and move into these outlet so that they can then be used to shift explosives from the warehouse where you're storing them.
Is it possible then that your apprentice is seen to be attacking the town? Does anyone have a way of masking my explosion as the bright wizard messing up, trying to defend the place?
It'd be very difficult. But would it matter if everything's been blown up?
No, but it might.
wizards in town would know. They would sense magic.
History is written by the people who didn't blow up.
My question is also,
Good line.
how do we get the news out about the Todbringers' dishonor and shame?
And that is the big one. And how are we certain that we'll catch Heinrich in this mess? I think it's very likely we might not, which may be your
Yeah.
duty to trace down Heinrich.
And that other bastard.
But if you are he did not form part of your original orders. I grant you now, you must add him. But Heinrich is the one that the people of the city, the families of Middenheim, the lords will rally to. If your liege's intent is to sap the Todbringers' power,
Oh, he's made it clear.
then favour
Heinrich can't live.
Heinrich over the other, and perhaps if this other is an older gentleman,
Yes.
you
Right,
think
so,
we can
certainly.
infirm.
Yes.
He can be mocked up.
so I'm going to interrupt and say that I like aspects of this plan, but fear it is too detectable. I fear that the necessity to move the explosives into place so swiftly and using magic to do so is very detectable. I fear that that could cause issue. That doesn't mean we shouldn't move with it, but perhaps we should try and consider a different one. We only need 20 corpses. Perhaps the Garden of Moor is a better option. There is, after all, sewage entrances all round that area.
If there were to be corpses that were perhaps on the edge of the Garden of Moor or not yet interred in it,
How do they deliver the corpses to? It's a massive city, right? Do they do the old bring out your dead and it's the bloke in the cart? Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, backwards. I'm not dead yet.
So,
I'm getting better.
do the corpses go to the Mourners Guild first, and then?
And no, they
return?
go to the Temple of Moor, the Mourners Guild.
Does the
It-
rest?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, pretty much. The Middenheim, the Mourners Guild, is responsible for the vast majority of it. The Temple of Moor, much less.
Is there only one graveyard in Middenheim?
There is only one Garden of Moor. Yes,
It's a big one.
it's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Moore's Park in total is built.
I was just thinking if there was one in a less salubrious
Having
area
said
of
that, though,
town.
it's full.
No, less salubrious. You're over the wall.
Yeah.
It's full, which is one of the reasons why most of the corpses go over the wall, because the garden is full. And a more intelligent response, as has been offered by the Hellsteins on more than one occasion, is just make another Garden of Moor down there, take the corpses down. But the ruling families have decided that there's too much hassle and they don't want to pay for it. And the people aren't paying for it, so they just tip them over the edge. And it has caused problems because that causes dar to gather. There's lots of corpses down there. Beasts gather, free food. It is fortunately a relatively dangerous place, which is good for a crazy plan of trying to summon up some undead. You would not be the first necromancer to consider this to be a good source of potential corpses.
I've told them, I showed them the theses, and I said, you've got to get this place in order, and then, and this is just,
And this is
this
what
is just
happens.
pen testing, that's all this is.
Yes, So, you
What?
can take advantage, but it is quite far away from your intended target.
Yes, you can't underestimate how many tunnels there are down
And getting
there,
caught.
how long it'll take, and what you might bump into. The sewers aren't empty, just to be clear.
But are there any old crypts that aren't at the Garden of Moor because they're from further back in the city's history?
Yeah, for
The
example,
Children of Ulrich
inside
are down there.
the actual palace grounds, up in the top left-hand corner of the palace grounds, and you know this, is the mausoleums, of which the Grand Duke and the Grand Duchesses of the past have been interred. It's currently called the Todbringer Mausoleum. It used to be called the Hellstein Mausoleum.
It's outrageous, really.
It's outrageous. They have just taken over everything. That's up there. It's also said that the Feywoods over in the main gardens are said to be fertilized by the corpses of old Teutogan enemies. So they could be sitting under the ground. And again, if that's true, then there's just a bunch of ancient bones down there that could be easily summoned up. But again, is it true? Your history suggests it probably is. The mausoleum most certainly has been filled with bones over the course of time. You could have old dukes and old duchesses helping bring about honour finally to the palace once more.
Would they have been like blessed by a
Who
priest or
knows?
more?
The only way to be certain would be to go.
Would it not be easier to send somebody down with a cart to pick up some corpses? Say somebody's made a donation as a charitable offer to bury some
It
of
wouldn't
them,
be difficult to take over one of the Mourning Guild's carts.
and just
and just
bring
fill it
them
with-
up, and then bring them to life where we need them to be brought to life.
Take them to your warehouse,
Yes.
and then you could do the business there. Again, I fear it might be detected. I don't know how much of a working that is. From your perspective, it's a pretty minor one to get a bunch of corpses that are recently dead to start shambling.
It will not be detected.
Let's deliver the corpses to near where we need them, rather than animating them and then bringing
Well,
them.
I would suggest that I move now on that,
Yes.
so we need
Yes.
to secure ourselves that. So I'll leave you for a moment, and I'm going to go see if we can organise a Mourners Guild cart. And she goes out.
Can't believe they won't even pay to inter their own dead. Especially with all them money that they got from them taxes. Bloody shameful.
Well, there's a
It is.
reason that some people are rich and some people are poor, because the rich hold on to their cash.
It is shameful. It is another shame upon this city, a stain that will one day be washed clean with the blood of the Todbringers.
It's
On
the
the-
bloody last straw.
On the outside,
Now you can go.
she speaks to a shorter man and says, we want corpses, several corpses taken over to the, and she pauses. I'm not sure what the warehouse is. I'll get the warehouse details to you in a moment, but activate all of the cells, 20 corpses, and steal one of the Mourners Guild carts and park it outside. And it says, oh, well, I get what you're saying, but I mean, everyone's a bit under shock after what happened, you know. Says, I don't care. Activate the cells now. Move it.
Beep, 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 beep.
And you go,
Deactivate
right.
sounds
As nice. As he comes in and says, would I be correct in saying your warehouse is in the wind? The warehouse is not in the wind.
Okay.
That's where everyone expects them to be, because that's where the dwarves are. You don't live there. No, not in the slightest. It's up in Gelman. And it's rich. Rich area of town. Big warehouse that's yours.
Up in Giltman.
Right, Gelman. Shouldn't be a problem. She goes out. Again, leaving you alone. And she turns over and goes, "Where's he gone?" And says, "He just ran out the door, said he would be." She stops. And her eye flashes slightly. She says, "Gelpend. It's in Gelpend." She pauses. "Yes, that's a name." And that you catch. It's like a flash of magic off towards the side.
Does
You
she
catch that too.
No issue with that, though, right?
And that magic's a relatively common background effect, particularly when you're dealing with people who are doing things. As she then comes back in and says,
particular
"Word has been
flavour?
spread." No.
Okay.
Word has been spread. They are securing corpses. The recently dead. They will be taken to the warehouse, hopefully, using one of the carts from the Mourners Guild. That will cover everything.
Good.
And that should be completed, one hopes, within the next hour. Which means that you should have everything that you require to then move the explosives into place. All we need to do is get access down into the sewers and move through them. I think that's somewhere that you can,
I can
help with.
absolutely help
So you
you
can
with
act
that.
as a guide there. That then leaves us with two outstanding potential issues. Issue number one is, what do you wish to do regarding the Lucas Todbringer issue? And the second one is the Heinrich Todbringer issue. And I bring that to you because obviously she is going to be busy, as is she. This lies outside the remit, and obviously our good friend here will also be busy. Do you have a preferred way of dealing with these two? And is there anything you would need to make that more easy?
Well, one, I need to know where Heinrich is. Do we have anyone for that?
I could fly by before we go down to the sewers. And go and have a
Literally.
scout see. Literally, in Ravenfall.
I mean, you don't need to go down to the sewers anymore because you're not needed to scout them.
I
Well,
still
you're
need
going
just
to
to play
guide-
the.
To play,
To guide where how
you're
to
going-
get through.
okay,
and
of course, how would you know?
Yeah, you're going to need time for your working, and you're going to need time to prepare. So there's nothing to stop me flying over the palace to just see if Heinrich's banner is still there and his people in the barracks.
Does he have a banner?
Pardon? He does have a banner, yes. It's not a Todbringer banner, but he does
His
have a full banner.
regiment. is it?
Yeah.
I would not put it past him to leave it up and go. He is craven
Well,
and a liar.
I can fly out along the main road. It's not as the crow flies. Not
I
very
would,
far.
I would do that.
Also, shouldn't
He
be
has
too hard
escaped
to
Justice.
get into them barracks. Just have a wee nosy. This other one, where did you say he was?
Grafplatz, main square near the palace, actually.
The ex-champion's house. They somehow wound up befriending him and have made it their
It
base
used to be
of
guarded by Knights
operations.
Panther, but no longer. Apparently, whomever they were guarding has moved on.
Right. Any intel on it?
Other than the grass champions there, but I believe he's wounded.
Yes, everybody, the Jagers will be out. He does have a wife, but she's not been. Sorry, a fiance, but she's not been seen for some time.
And they wouldn't move this Lucas
I believe.
into the palace with them? Now they are in...
I
Yeah,
suspect, and it's just a suspicion that everything has happened so quickly.
I see.
Nobody's had time
To
to.
think of anything.
Yes, and I can't imagine the Graf having decided to honour them and having had them save his life will have allowed them to go wandering around. He'll have kept them in the palace.
Of course.
I
Of course.
assume to keep them close.
Foolish. Yes.
So I
Well, at least we can hope.
try Heinrich, confirm if I can, and then as I come back, maybe look in, see if he's in this Grafplatz.
And we probably want to do that. We have to make sure when the explosion goes, the alarm will go up. So you might be best using that as the cover. I mean, if Heinrich's in the palace, then there's nothing we need to delay with. We just leave the bombs to do their job. Have them go off at a pointed out 4 in the morning or something. Make sure that everyone's prepared for it, and then you can swiftly move in on the main building and take out this Lucas.
But we still, I mean, granted, just will the explosions kill him? Are we just leaving it to fate?
Will the explosions kill them, or will the large amounts of falling stone caused by the explosions kill them?
You're pretty convinced it will.
And,
And the very fact that they might suggest it doesn't is kind of an insult.
yeah. Deep breath. And if they don't die, easier to kill.
It's still the matter
Then
of...
that perhaps is where you step in.
Exactly. But where's my proof?
You don't need proof.
No, but for the people.
No, you don't need proof. You want proof. What you need to do is form the rescue party. So after the explosion, the Hellsteins move in to try and save the lives of the Todbringers. Of course, should they find any, they stab them.
We'll save their immortal souls.
Exactly.
No, we'll send them
And then
to
you
know my...
drag what corpses you can out, and the people will see you as the saviors and the natural successors, which you already are.
Could you instruct your people to take care of these Jagers? Secondary to Todbringers, if they find them.
Perhaps.
No, perhaps about it. The cultists, they should be done, my lady.
I was just checking, like, what she can do. It was more a perhaps out of her. Absolutely. They will be put down.
This is good.
It seems we have some form of plan.
I still have a mind if the
That would be
princess can be separated to marry her immediately and remove her from the house. It will bring stability and...
You
in
say
the
she's a
aftermath.
cultist. Shouldn't she be dead?
The child of a cultist. We would confine her to quarters.
I would say that if she survives the explosion, then that's the will of the gods, and if she doesn't, then that's also the will of the gods.
And if she
Yes.
survives, then you take her.
Yes,
But
that is
Marry her,
honourable.
then
That
dispose
is
of her.
honourable.
if she's a cultist and she survives, could that not be the will of the ruinous gods? Surely
She doesn't
we're
have to
opposed to that.
She
Doesn't have to survive for very long.
She does not have to survive for long after the wedding.
She might die of a broken heart with the loss of all her family,
Indeed.
or go quite mad.
I feel like there's something here I'm not getting. Why are we protecting the princess?
We are
We're
not
not.
protecting the princess.
We're legitimising
We are
them.
legitimizing the protection of my family of this city in a way that will keep it safe and stop Middenheim
Emperor
going to
said-
war with these people.
It has nothing to do with the Emperor.
Todbringers are gone.
Then
Nothing
then
to do with the Emperor.
she will be married
This is Middenheim business.
and Todbringers will be no more. That is how it works here. You understand?
She'd be a Hellstein.
No.
at that point.
She would be a Hellstein. There would
Or she'd be no one because she's dead.
Well, she'll be no one eventually anyway, because she wouldn't live long.
Fucking shit out.
totally fair.
In her pretty face.
And her tiny little feet.
Wow,
Unnaturally small.
something's been unlocked.
Sorry, I was channeling Birdie there for a moment. Just feet are not tiny.
She says, it seems that we certainly have something. I'm going to go and confirm that we are definitely getting these bodies. And if that is the case, he says, we will then press on with this plan. We all have actions that we will need to see through. And if we are successful, we will be rid of both the Todbringers and the Jagers in a single night.
And neutralise the Knight's Panther too.
Absolutely.
Yes, we will. And she goes out, and on the outside, he says, "Is everyone activated?" And yes. Go up to the graph plants. Break into the sewer jacks and kill them all. And he says, "Sewer jacks, yep, all of them. We need the sewers free." He says, "I mean, we're going to be seen." He says, "It won't matter if we succeed." How big's the if? Do it. Okay. I'm off.
That's your problem. You don't think of the collateral.
That's for people with sewer jacks.
Oh,
Just
I
don't-
don't know. I kind of like being a
Now,
villain.
the question
There's
is,
a union.
does this all come to pass? They are crazed. I'm going to try and blow up the city plan in a single night. Well, we will find out after the break.
Hi, I'm Sage. You just watched me play LAWhammer. Now that we're waiting for the ad break to finish, why don't you like and subscribe and maybe join us on Discord so we can keep talking about all this cool stuff we're making. We also have a Patreon and all the rules on there are free, so you should totally check it out as well. And if you've got some money to spare, we'd really love it. We could get some better mics and some better lights and all that kind of stuff for you. So yeah, just come join us. It'd be great to see you.
The chair leaves to go and organise what she needs to go and organise to get everything ready. She comes back not more than about 5 minutes later with, well, everything's prepared for that. Do we want to change anything? Do we want to do anything differently? Because we need to decide now before we head off towards the warehouses. Also, we've been here for some time, so I've organised some refreshment.
I just have one suggestion that depends on the Heinrich situation. And that is, I don't know if you know, but some of my family have been befriending him for some time. So maybe with him, if he's left. So potentially, I think I should go and handle that because I can give them the nod, and then you can go directly to the other todbringer, and we can take them all out in one fell swoop.
But what if he's in the palace?
Then he'll die along with the rest
We
of them.
will know that very
but-
shortly.
Okay.
Then
leave that
Then
to me.
it is not a problem at all.
So we're all about to go our separate ways. Where do we meet back? When do we meet back? We've not really discussed that.
Well, once my family are in control, those of you who wish to be acknowledged will be invited to the palace, and those of you that don't, we should arrange what's the word? Clandestine meeting, if required. But if all goes to plan, why would we ever need to meet again? Unless you wish to be rewarded for your heroism in rescuing
That is
or
what I
attempting the
have
rescue
agreed
event.
with you. A reward.
It's just more so for me in terms of
There's a knock at the door as you're talking, and a servant comes in. And comes in with some trees of food laid out in the middle. Maybe leave one tree over there. Laid out between you all.
he has just trailed off and he's
Yep, food. And some wine and a jug of water, because apparently that's your preference. Water.
Thank you.
As she raises up and she says, "To our success, is there anything else that we think we should consider? Our plan is foolhardy and reckless, of that there's no doubt, and we are almost certainly going to be discovered if we're not exceedingly lucky or careful. But it might succeed. It just seems dangerous. Is there any other considerations we can do? I'm concerned that you say that your working will not be detected, but I'm concerned that it might be. I'm concerned that the large number of explosives won't be put in place in time or in the right place. I'm concerned that you won't be able to marshal your family in time to respond. I'm just concerned.
I will be, have no doubt of that. I have been planning for a moment like this. My family awaits the call to come to Middenheim's aid in its hour of need.
I know the sewers inside and out, and I will be your eyes and ears.
A small working by your apprentice, perhaps? Somewhere else in the city?
For what purpose?
To distract
To
them from
distract.
your working.
I will not be detected.
And my experience has been hard-earned. I know what I'm doing.
To none.
As they're discussing that, over in another part of Middenheim, the murdering begins. Purple Hand cultists drop down and come in towards the sewer jacks, halls, break down the door, and just charge. Many of them are capable fighters on the inside. What they don't have on their side, though, is fanatical loyalty to the cause. The Purple Hand cultists are willing to give their lives away for this. They believe their time has come. They believe this is it. Quite a few of them die because they're reckless. But equally, in dying, they are able to kill some who are significantly their better as they fall on blades and just continue to stab with whatever remains of their strength, doing things that real fighters don't do. Meaning that the other real fighters are completely taken by surprise, even though there's no true surprise. Fanatical loyalty, talent for cultists, allowing them to gain surprise when they're in base-to-base contact.
Oh.
Yeah, nasty. But they die at the end of the round. You win some, you lose some, but it's a fun one.
We can bring them back, so...
Hey! Unbeknownst to our
recycling.
group,
That's how we
although
could have got
they
the
are
bodies.
aware of it, the murderings have indeed started beginning. On the outside, there is a corpse cart.
They did get the bodies.
They've decided to combine it.
Practical.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
There is a chance that they get spotted. Everybody roll a d10.
Is it wrong if I'm hoping to roll an 8? 7.
Well, we probably don't want an 8 now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
4!
We both got 6.
6, 6, 5, 4.
7.
Okay, no, so you can. Good. They are spotted. They're not spotted for their murderous intent, so to speak. The screams of the dying were not heard either. But the corpse cart itself, as it's making its way down a street where normally it would never be found, is challenged by a small group of Middenheim's watch. I wonder how they'll fare.
Oh dear.
I'm going to roll. That roll pretty much clinched it. I don't need to roll anymore. They don't fare well. They don't fare well at all. The watch are added to the cart, as are 2 more cultists. They continue on back down the
Oh,
street.
efficient.
Birdie would be so impressed.
Just keep digging that hole. That's
However,
the best way to get out.
There is a chance that they will be disappointed once more on the way down. They are carrying a
Carrying
lot
dead
of
watchmen.
a lot of corpses they should be creaking under all the watchmen, cultists, and sewer jacks. Do yourself another D10 roll each.
Who've been clearly stabbed as well, like...
Oh yeah, if anyone.
Oh, 7.
3.
9.
10.
1.
Oh, and that's good. Depending on your perspective.
We're very
That's good.
torn.
That's brilliant. As the cart creaks its way down towards the warehouse where you're all to gather at later. You're currently up in Grassmead. as she says, so, the plan as it currently stands is you're just dealing with one now, is that right? Or two?
Right, I'm on Lucas.
Lucas.
But would it be...
Perhaps I could come.
No, I think you could go with... wrong accent. I think you could support my von Hellstein party to make sure that if the Graf survives, you kill him. He is a capable fighter and holds a rune fan. It's not nothing. So deal with the bastard at the champion's house, and then when the commotion happens, make your way to the palace, and I will have word that you are to be
And
scooped up.
we'll definitely have dealt with Heinrich.
I will deal with him. I have been waiting to deal with him and have been setting my men about him for a number of years now. I would not surprise me if he is the root of some of this ill.
Right so.
And you're going to be going down to the warehouse and organising the explosives along with your allies. And you're going to be providing the guide. You're going to be organising the allies, and then one presumes travelling with them to ensure that they can continue.
Yes,
Yes.
that is the plan.
Well,
So use 3 in the sewers.
If you wish.
well,
Temporarily while we're set there.
Right.
at this moment, we unleash a secret. One of them is working for the Todbringers.
Fuck's sake, I
It's the
hate
chair,
doing this.
clearly.
It's the chair.
Yeah.
She's the chair!
Just to mix it up a bit further, the one who's doing it, the player doesn't know. At some point, their action might change. However, we're going to pause here because if they get it right, they can influence what happens. Who do you think is the Todbringer plant?
Maybe they can vote?
You choose right now.
But we
What,
don't know.
do we all...
None of you know.
None of us know.
So
You're
it's just a
making-
guess, really.
This
Yeah.
is need a guess, given everything that's been laid down.
Yeah, okay,
because
give
I've known from the beginning.
Of course you have. You're the GM.
Or he's just
I've got
decided
such
in
a
the
big
moment.
head.
Right, it's not Ed.
Alright,
It's just not.
okay.
Never is. Oh no, except for that one time that it was.
It was so weird.
And he blew everyone up.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
This is
We've
just
all
this is a
played
punt in the
people.
dark, right? How many of us are there? There's 5.
5.
Do I just roll a d10 with assigned numbers? Like 1, 2,
I'm
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
I'm
9, 10?
guessing Kath.
The amber. Yeah.
So
3, 4.
while
The
we're
dice said 3,
deciding,
4.
I have one for you out there as well. Currently over on Discord, inside the episode 44.1 thread, there's a poll for who is the Chaos Cultist. If you get it right by the point where I call the end of the episode and I have somebody check it, they will get another bonus.
Is it, hang on, is
Wait,
it Chaos Cultist?
Chaos?
Or is it an ally?
Chaos Cultist.
With air quotes?
No,
or-
no, Chaos Cultist.
Okay, so someone's working the Todbringers and someone's a chaos cultist.
In this room,
Did they know that? Or
Pardon?
did the player also not know?
the
Are they-
player knows.
Are they different people?
They might not be different people.
I like the amber.
I think
I like you too.
Unknowingly working for the Todbringers.
Yeah, and because she didn't, like, she must have given information that Andy gave her, and most of her information was about how bad the Jagers were.
Yeah,
He wasn't
it's
like
not
fussed
about the
about it's not
Todbringers.
about the Todbringers.
You
we just don't like
know
the
the
Jagers.
dwarf, or Adelaide knows
Yeah.
the dwarf for a long time. Doesn't mean she can't be a double agent, but
And what, and
I mean,
do we have to
maybe
figure
I'm
out the cultists as
secretly in
well?
love with the princess.
No, Cultist is there.
Okay, Cultist is just for the
Yep.
viewers. Okay, fine. So it's
I
just
am-
whoever's the
yeah,
Todbringer.
I am
I
going
know
to put it
that-
out there that it could be me. I think it's highly unlikely from everything I've done and known. But there's a little bit of me that's like, but is it a triple blood?
Oh, we're getting all inception.
Or like
again.
maybe you're in love with Hyric and you're gonna save him.
One thing I will say for Hale is for a while, he's not sure if his orders are coming from the Imperial Court. They seem to be.
Do you know what? If old Toddy has been looking for a reason to go to war, and the initial assassination, which he didn't know about, but he's very much gotten involved with. You know what I mean? Like,
You set one up.
bloody Reichlanders, oh, they tried to assassinate me. Yeah. Why wouldn't you just be like, can you just pretend to assassinate me, please? Or be ready for an
Bloody
assassination.
Mootlanders.
Yeah, exactly.
So, who are you going to call
Yeah,
on?
we don't know. I mean,
I think either Birdie
I like the
or-
amber.
You like the amber?
I think it's
I think
Adelaide.
it's Adelaide.
You think it's Adelaide?
I think it's Adelaide.
Adelaide?
Okay, we're split. We've got a tiebreaker.
Will that mean
Adelaide,
do you
Jasper,
both like
Jasper,
Jeff?
Adelaide.
What do you think?
I rolled 1 to 3. Sorry, I rolled a 3, which is you. So I think
I love your decision making
Yeah,
process. So that's 2 and 2.
I
But
mean,
one
it's as
person
good as
wasn't
anything.
Who's not
voted. Is
voted?
that yourself, or did I get
No,
it
no,
wrong?
no. We
voted.
these two voted for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Me and Dan voted for
Kath.
Jasper.
Oh, so it's and I
you
voted.
No,
roll
it's
for the tiebreaker.
Yeah. So
I
Jasper.
Jasper.
Jasper. You
But I also think it might be me.
I think it might be me. I mean, I don't even know, right?
It's all of us. It's all
Shall
of
I
us.
vote
It's always
Well-
fun to have these little side adventures as
I
they
just
try
like
to figure
blowing
it
up
out.
stuff.
I think we've got our answer then.
If we get it wrong, does the Todbringer person get something good, like a fate point?
Wait, can I change my vote?
No, but if we got it right, the Todbringer person was going to get something good, right?
If you get it right, there will be a bonus.
Two. This is like, oh, Dan, you'll get a fate point. I'm going to change my vote to Hale.
Hale.
To
So
yourself.
it's now 2-2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it still makes no
Yeah, yeah.
difference.
It's
But,
2-2-1. So we've now got a break. Is anyone else going to change?
and I'm not going to tell you why I'm changing it, but you will find out.
So we've got
We've got two on.
2 for you and 2 for
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
So is
I
anyone
mean,
going
if
to change?
it was me, it would be mad. Like, it would just be like layer upon
just
layer of
mad.
mad.
Do we have to?
Mad.
Do we have to make a
Now,
overwhelming decision,
I need
or is
to have
it
a
just that we're
majority
relying?
decision,
Oh,
yes.
we need a majority.
You chickened out. You
Ed,
choose.
Ed, trust
You
me.
rolled.
Well, no, it doesn't help then, because that's a 2-2 again.
You're the tastemaker. You'll swing them.
I'm the taste
You're
man.
the tastemaker of the group. Everyone says it.
That's not what taste making is.
I don't know. I've never heard of that phrase. I'm just flattered. I'm going with the flattery. I'm the tastemaker. Yeah, it's hail. It's definitely hail.
It's like when Spider-Man is like totally confused. That's what you're like right now.
Yeah, it's hail. It's hail.
Like when who?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
now I've been confused. Totally said,
That's just somebody
Spider-Man there.
unfortunate surname, Mr. Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's called Spider-Man.
That's what we call it.
I'm now more excited because I've been called
New York.
Spider-Man as well.
No, you were called Spider-Man.
Have you not heard about our
Different.
comic we're writing about
Beside the point.
Spider-Man?
Come on,
Right, who
let's
needs
get
to-
on to
somebody else get on Hale.
our decision.
Hale.
2 on Hale now.
Somebody get
2
Hale.
on
Adelaide.
Adelaide.
And
Anyone
one on
different?
Jeff.
Still 2-2-1.
Change.
Why?
Change.
Fine.
Who you changing to?
I'm changing to myself because it's just mad.
Oh!
So now we're back to 2
All
and 1.
the taste making.
No, now we're 3.
Now we're
Yeah,
3-2.
3-2.
I thought, yeah, because
We have ourselves a majority.
It's ridiculous.
The question is, are they correct? No.
By the way, I'm working for the Todbringers.
We're going to find out who's working for the Todbringers as we move along.
Just to let you know, the chat had voted Kath as a majority of who they thought it was for the
Doesn't matter yet.
No, I
You've
mean-
still got time.
Todbringer one.
Oh, for the Todbringer
in the
one?
stream
Oh,
chat.
no, they don't. Did someone put up a vote?
Yeah, in
Oh,
the,
whoever did that, Rox, was it you? Was it Hawk? Was it Hawk?
It was-
Thanks, Hawk.
Hawk.
Ah, Hawk, you
I
rock.
don't know how to do that.
Our corner goblin. She doesn't goblin or
Never
corner.
admit that. Just like, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, you don't admit it. You just
Too
think,
cool.
yeah. Right, so
I love how much everybody trusts me in this chat.
did the chat get it right?
That was my first instinct. So-
We'll find out.
Oh.
Right, so You're heading out towards Lucas. You and you are heading down towards the warehouse.
I'm gonna do
He's
fly
got to do
around
the
first,
Heinrich flyby first.
and then meet
Oh yeah,
at
to
the
check where he is.
Yeah, because otherwise I won't.
Yep,
I won't go.
absolutely. So you fly off as a raven,
Yes.
flapping your way over the city. It's dark. And you go to where Heinrich's flag is. Pennant, hanging somewhat limp. More like that.
It's not his fault. It happens to everyone.
It's summer, you know?
He's in mourning.
Yeah.
Go on, his mind.
And you've been here more times than you care to mention. You have been around this palace more times than anyone here realizes. You have been in the palace a lot. As you hop down onto exactly where you know he was sleeping. You sat out on the outside and watched him a few times. He's an impressive man.
Creep.
He's very rarely alone, though.
Very rarely alone. And indeed, he isn't this evening. But he is here. If he'd been ordered elsewhere, he has yet to leave. He's not in the main palace. He is way off to the side, not far from the Middenheim field. Not far indeed from the mausoleum for anyone who wants to, I don't know, summon up some help for him. In one of the towers that are on the main gated wall. It's exactly where you expected him to be, and it's exactly where he was. If he'd been ordered out, he'd have gone all the way over to the west tower and out through there.
And he's occupied, so he
he's
doesn't look
occupied.
like he's looking to leave any.
He is asleep at this moment, and no, he's not going anywhere.
Okay. I will go report back.
Can I just get some clarifications
Yes.
on some othery type of spells that are at
Yeah,
my disposal?
Yeah.
What sort of stuff can it
Broadly speaking, you name it,
be? Yeah.
and he almost can do it.
Right.
Dream big.
I am broadly talking here.
Just feel-
Specifically, there's obviously a lot of limitations as to the type of spell they do, but he can bring down hell if he wished to do so, or at least an undead hell.
Okay, cool. Love it. Let's. Okay, yeah.
Worry about
Sweet.
that in a moment. While you return to the group who have been quaffing or not quaffing, eating or not eating, depending on what they're doing as they wait for your return, with a couple of comments coming from her. One of which will be, before she returns, I just had word that they should have gathered the corpses that are required.
Good.
They're taking them from the gardens, well, not the gardens of Moor and Mona's Grove directly, but from the corpse carts. So we should have everything that we require.
Good.
We'll head out as soon as they come back.
Would you like escorts for your secondary journeys?
Not from you. I will have my own.
It would not be.
Would it be from your servants then?
Yeah.
That,
I'm
No.
fine.
no.
Are you sure?
I for these things I work better alone.
Yes, my men would be disturbed.
Okay.
I also need to clarify. This doesn't count as eating with you. You're gonna come back and stab us later, yes?
Counts as eating.
You're not taking us anywhere to eat.
I haven't eaten anything.
I wasn't here.
Or drunk.
Well, to be clear, I don't always feed them. Sometimes I just kill them.
If you wish to know if someone is truly expired, I have a trinket that may be useful. Is that a yes?
Go on.
Oh, I see.
You'll reach into his undoubtedly necromantic cloak. Pull out. All right, let's go. You get a crab claw.
This is for you.
What was that? Another one? And it's like a
Or tastes rotten.
Don't eat it.
something else. A small mouse skull.
Does it seem unholy?
It came out of a necromancer's pocket.
Put it on the table. I will take that with me.
Place it upon the corpse and it will animate should they be expired. Same with the claw.
Right. I just usually see they're not breathing and make a
Will
judgment,
will
but
the claw animate or the person?
The claw will make So will the mouse go?
can I do a stealth check?
If you wish to.
Yeah. Let's do a stealth check.
Okay.
Crit.
Yeah, nobody sees him.
Hold on. For 5 total successes. I'm going to place the croc cab on your shoulder.
What did I say? Did again?
If they were dead.
When you're dead, yes.
Oh yeah. I'm not dead. Yeah, no.
Yet.
Yeah.
So he'll do that and then take it off when it doesn't move and then just be back at the feast.
No, love it. Without any awareness.
Sorry, not at the feast. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very small amount of food that cannot be classified as a feast.
Everybody's going. I return back.
Perfect. How'd you say?
He's in his usual bedroom. He's not alone, but he's definitely not packing to leave as we speak. He's
That being the case.
He's in one of the main towns near the guardhouse, down near the Middenheim ball field.
She sits up and goes, then we should be about our business. Sigma, with you?
And with you.
And also with you.
Ranald Bonner.
Yes.
Have a dwarf. Ancestor or something.
Do you know where the grab box is? If not, I can give you a coach.
I have a map.
I'll give you a coach. You know where you're going. You all know where you're going. I will go with, it says, I'll go down to the warehouse unless there's any extra help needed.
We'll all go to the warehouse together then. Okay.
That sounds good. A coach is indeed prepared for you, and you can sit in the back.
She's grabbed some of the food as well.
Force people to eat a
Is that like going in
sandwich.
the same direction that I'll end up going?
Yes, actually, it is.
I shall pop in.
Yeah.
I shall jump in with you.
And then you can get off the coach there and then pop over in the opposite direction.
Stop.
Let's see.
Yeah. You're sorry.
He
I
was
thought you
looking
were-
suspicious.
No.
Yeah, no.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
Everyone's half expecting something to kick off. I can tell. Down at the warehouse, there is a host of now fresh corpses, all of which have been. It seems to have been a lot of stabbings in Middenheim this evening. Quite a lot. They're all naked. A couple of them have got tattoos that suggest they might come from military backgrounds, and they are mostly men.
I'm so glad I'm not there.
It very much does not look like these are a random assortment of people who have just died, been picked up by the Mourners Guild to be taken somewhere. These look, well, the corpses.
Yeah.
Ready made.
Very
Yeah, ready-made.
Does the freshness make a difference?
It is a good stock, yes. The muscle tone is quite useful.
Oh, I can't.
I do question, though, where are their clothes?
As the person who's there says, well, I didn't think they'd be needed. Says we took them off to be, hawked.
Right. Need some clothing. People who are dead tend to.
Well, they're going to be in the sewers, aren't they? That's what I was told.
We've got to get them to the. What is your name?
That's why we're using this warehouse.
Would you like to know how long you have left to live?
No.
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 Find me some clothes for these beings.
Why did you not hear it?
Don't put so much in me.
Someone
Necromancer
explain it
wants
to me.
what the necromancer wants.
That's fucking right. You do want to.
It's legally distinct from a necromancer.
Someone explain it to him.
In the coach, do you two have anything you want to say or do, or are we just going to arrive at the Lucas house and split?
Well, if this is on the way, why don't I nip in, stab, and then come back and help you with Heinrich? I don't think I'll be too long. Maybe 5-10 minutes.
I will meet you here. I must go and fetch my men. Wait down the back alley.
Around the back of the house.
Your house is just like literally over there into the grassland, because that's where you originally came from.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
And you could be into the
So he will hop down off his little chair and clamber across, and he's going to attempt to drive a dagger right in her neck.
Love it!
Oh, it did. Wait.
It was one of those feasts.
The chances of this are exceedingly high.
Oh yeah, totally.
You might fail in a 9600,
Let's see. 49.
but she is blessed by more. The god of death.
Oh. That's why we have some
And this
fun.
does not match her dooming.
Oh, nice.
Meaning that she gets a free fate point if she rolls an 8+.
Oh.
8+.
Nope. And I rolled a 7.
Which you can re-roll, 3 times because you're blessed by more.
Oh my god.
But only 3.
It's
Oh.
a 9! Yay!
She's dead.
But the crab
Crab claw.
Crab claw goes on. And does nothing.
Right, so, and then hops out, walks on towards the Graphs champion.
what?
Do yourself
no,
an
no.
intelligence test.
I won't say anything.
The claw should crack if they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's why I said
Yeah.
He's popped out though, right?
No.
What's your roll?
that's just Dan.
No.
13.
She's
Yeah.
out as soon as he pops out. She's going.
That's not how it pans.
Okay, fine.
As you're like, yep, gotcha. Hi, and you're like, wait a minute, turn round, and now she can call upon more.
Oh sure, let's do it.
Let's see how this one goes on this side. Do yourself a D100 test.
09.
Not so good.
Now this is starting to feel like a Jaeger plan.
And one last test before we go back to how it goes down below. Do yourself D100 to resist what
Oh.
is effectively her terror. What's your roll?
90.
90.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you succeeded. As blood spilling down her chest, her face looking as skeletal as if death itself had just risen within her. Feel the urge to run, but you don't run. Not when you got a job from the Emperor to do.
You're an oddun.
You three! Down! Underneath. Well, not underneath, it's in the warehouse. There is a large entrance down into the sewers directly here. That's one of the reasons why this place was chosen. And a whole host of Hessian bag and other rather Dodge-type clothing have been secured by the quite terrified purple handle. But not that you know that's what he is. As he helps to put clothes upon the various corpses.
I'll animate them beforehand because it's easier to dress something.
Yeah, they can just dress themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I go sort out the wares while
Yeah.
they do this because I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Immortal.
As the swirl of magic wraps around the limbs and causes them to twitch, kick, and then up with glassy eyes. And then with a few words of magic, they start taking your commands, clothing themselves, following, just stopping by the manhole and then falling down. Dead.
Yeah, nice.
Waiting for you to order them to do something.
They are ready for us.
No, but they need to take the stuff from the warehouse into the sewer.
Indicate which boxes you require.
And then...
Come back out of the manhole.
No, we didn't go into
They didn't-
my
No,
they
no,
just
no, wait.
take out
Oh,
the-
Literally, they've just gone like.
And they start carrying anything they pointed at, and they go over to the and stand there and look.
Don't let them drop it.
Oh.
Okay.
It's a bit of a mess, but you eventually form some form of train of
Yeah.
passing down one to the next as they eventually start count 1, 2, 3, 4. You're taking the lot. All of them.
How many did we do in the end? It was quite a lot.
There's well more than 100.
Oh.
This is going to be sweet.
No dice of doom to see if the magic was detected.
No.
Oh,
He's too good.
I rolled an 8.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Oh, I need to get my apprentice to do a thing as well, don't I?
If you wish to do so, yes.
You said you didn't. Weren't going to.
Didn't need him, but
Yeah.
it's useful to have a full guy. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're
it's
gonna
blind.
have a full guy.
Where
Iron.
But you didn't do anything.
No.
You just say it was him.
We only had the fall guy if the zombies skeletons were climbing up the walls.
That is true.
No one's going to find the evidence that you did this if the bomb goes off. Like, because that's what we were talking about at the end. I was like, don't you need your apprentice to do it?
Yeah.
And you were like, no, I'm too good.
Would we know about where the bodies came from, considering they looked like they were fresh and everything?
You'd guess that they were
Yeah.
from somewhere, but
Okay.
you don't know where.
This is to the purple hand fella.
He's not purple hand.
Whatever. Yeah. The guy. The nice
Yeah,
person.
genuine, nice.
He's a genuine
lad.
nice guy,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's
100%.
a genuine patriot.
Yes.
Where did you get these corpses from?
Oh.
I know how long they have been dead for.
Says, well, we're told to pick in cart, and that was it. I just took it in. I work here. Well, I don't work here. I came here, but I work here.
Right. You!
There is no other you.
A zombie. This is a zombie.
Oh, zombie, yes.
Tell me where you were killed.
It says, in the sewage. So,
Thank you.
basically useful.
And then to summon my follower, my apprentice. I don't know how long it takes him.
Master.
Go to the sewer jack hole. Make a mess.
Yes, master. He turns around and he goes out.
Are we the bad guy?
We are ready.
In both, like, here and the Jagers.
No, definitely. Compared to these lot, the Jagers are saints.
It's all circumstantial for the Jagers.
They're right about the Todbringers, not really.
Ends justify the means.
Meanwhile, back on the Grafplatz, a halfling circles off, against a cleric of Mor, who is bleeding badly. The question is,
But it gets you closer to more.
how are we both approaching this? I'm not too worried about dice rolls per se. I'm more, what's the plan? Is it talk, then poke? Is it just to launch? Is it to pray? Is it to run? Is it to, that didn't work, do something else? What are each of you doing?
He's gonna
You
saw,
obviously have the initiative.
through her throat.
Yeah, we're going straight for the throat.
Yeah,
on it.
like the stab didn't work, so let's just slice right through. Try and take her head off, in essence.
I mean, I presume she can pray as... can I move and pray? Like dodge and pray?
I mean, you can give it a go, yeah.
I think she's got to pray because
Right, both
he'll
do
get
your
a free
P100
attack. if
test,
she-
please, and let's see what we get in our rolls.
83.
82.
Oh.
Okay.
Fancy.
As they dance around, the blade nevertheless finds its mark and slices again, causing you to yelp. Yeah, she's sharp, sharper than you expected, but she's not good enough. As she stumbles backwards, her throat gaping. That's a fatal blow, but you still have two of them left, and this is not what you're doing.
Andy, what's her dooming?
I'm not telling you because you will.
That's a 10.
Ah! She's dead.
Will the crab work again?
Should have smashed it.
Thanks, Eric.
Popping it down, and it goes.
Remind Dan,
That means she is dead.
I mean, she's dead.
I'm gonna take this bitch's head off. Yeah, he does it. He's seen it
Fate points
once.
spent, you won't. That's the nature of fate points. Fate points mean you survive the situation on a spend, and she, in this case, does.
Good. He has no reason to hang around then.
He doesn't. Off in.
You
Or...
slap the coach so that
Oh, that's
drives
right.
off.
Oh,
Oh, no, we were in the
We were in-
coach.
Oh, you were in, yeah, you
Yeah.
totally were, and then bounce back. Good point.
Yeah.
This is
Good man.
I
On
think-
you go.
I think this says a lot about him. Yep. And off he goes.
It's probably not the worst fare he's had this evening.
Down in the sewers, the undead go. As they make their way through, and they've got quite some distance to make their way through these tunnels. They've got to make their way all the way up to the palace. This is a good 2 hours worth of jaunt, and there is not enough for them to do it. So you've got about 8 hours worth of work. It might even reach to the morning if you want it all to go. If you don't want all of them to go, as in you just place, say, half of them, you could do that in about 3-4 hours. If you place half of them, you think you could easily take out the entire palace. Easily. If you place them all, you'll also get the Knight's Panther. Now the question is, are you going to push for them all? And the timing, I mean, when people get up, they're unlikely to move that far. They're dealing with the ones who are unlikely to be in the palace, and they're most likely to stay in the palace until at least 10 or so anyway. So the time's probably on your side.
I know, because I spent a lot of time down here keeping an eye on things, I know where under the main palace is, so we could concentrate them there if the Todbringers are our absolute essentials, which I think we all agree they are. And anybody else will be collateral. We will take out some Knight's Panther because they'll be in there, but at least we can guarantee that the family goes.
And we told the mother that they would be coming in to save the day. They can't do that if we don't explode. At the time we agreed.
So let us concentrate them in this one place.
Good. Okay, so you may wait. There is an possibility that between the three of you do encounter something rather awful down there. The sewer jacks are clearly not on patrol for a host of reasons.
Because they're with us doing other things.
The thin brown line is in there to protect them.
Oh no! Can I please have a D10 roll from each of you? Dice of Doom.
10. And 9.
2.
We're good.
Okay.
As you make your way through the sewers, a few things do spot you, but they are having nothing to do with a party this size full of walking dead zombies, some of which have had Hessian cloth clothes just falling off them. One of which is just going through the main flow of effluvium as if it doesn't matter at all with glazed eyes. Yeah, this is not the sort of thing that you try to interrupt. No. Bombs! Run! Why? No, you. There's nothing up there. No. But unbeknownst to you, this gave an attempt to fool each other into going into the undead bomb mess. As you
It's a good
slip
bad name.
into the
The
house.
undead bomb mess. Yeah, good one.
Here we go.
Don't do it! As you pop in, it's dark, obviously. It's not particularly difficult to find what you want. But it's always worth to double check everywhere you go. Quiet, slow, you are purposeful, and you are clean. As you pass by the bottom floor, appears that there's only a single person down the entirety of the bottom floor. He's passed out.
Steaming.
He reeks of alcohol. Beside him, there's a bowl full of figs. One of them's just broken open.
Classy.
Yeah.
Eat those, they look great.
I mean, he's
Yum, yum, yum,
eating.
yum, Yum yum pigs.
You know, he'll close the door just to seal off that room. And then continue. He's checked the ground floor,
Yep,
right?
checked the ground floor and checked also the lower level where the kitchens are. Nothing there. And there's also a small kitchen, dining room down there. Up to the second floor, checked all that. Nobody here. interesting, at least 2 of the rooms have been used by women recently, as you rifle through their things. But nope, doesn't look like he's here either, which means he's almost certainly only one set of stairs up.
3rd floor.
As you go up those stairs, and at the very door where Gerhardt constantly swore at the Shallions repeatedly again and again, there's now a halfling assassin.
Another one.
It's a mirror!
You open the door. And inside is an empty bed. He isn't here. While you're contemplating that, you are dead. And you hear the caw of ravens. For a brief moment, you think you see Heinrich's face. And he's laughing. Clearly laughing because you're not dead! As your hand goes to your throat and you tear off and wrap it around and make your way over. It's night. There's no one out on the Platz. But over there is the watch house. And some are almost, there's the State Army barracks too. And it doesn't take long before one of them catches you, sees you, and comes running over to the obviously bloodied lady. Are you saying anything to them?
My house is nearby, right?
It's just up in the Grassman, yes. It's just.
And where she said Heinrich would be,
Yes.
does that seem to be far enough away from what we discussed they would...
No, they're going to blow up the lot.
Okay.
Everything.
So do I have a way of getting into the palace? You know, I mentioned that there were some von Hellsteins who'd been hanging around
Yes,
him.
absolutely.
That was true, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so can I get word to them?
If you wish to, but you can't talk very well.
Yeah, so, but
First, you've got this to deal with.
I'll get them to take me home.
No, you can't talk.
Oh. I'll show my seal and point at my house.
Yeah, you'll be taken to the watch captain.
Just but a scratch.
Woman's troubles.
Meanwhile, underground, we are now planting explosives.
We are.
You are the Queen of Explosives. I'd like a D100 roll from you to determine just how closely placed they are to where you want them to be. And how well the detonators are resolved.
53.
And they're pretty much spot on. As you're popping them in place, going down for a second trip, she now knows the way. You don't even need to be down here anymore if you want to go somewhere else.
I will, if I can, I will try and pop up to make sure that where I think they should be.
It doesn't connect.
All right. Okay.
So yeah, you're not sure. Yeah. They're in what you think is the right area. This is definitely the palace area.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, by your judgment, you reckon it's fine.
Okay.
Because there's a lot to do. But if you want to go up, you can go up. Or if you want to stay down, you can stay down. It's up to you.
I'll maybe go back the way we came and just scout, just in case.
If anything comes out,
Yeah,
lovely.
because I can always come back and warn you guys if anybody
you
comes into the
equally don't
warehouse.
need to be here now that the core part of it's done. They will follow her instruction and go wherever she tells them to go. So you don't need to be there if you don't want to. If you want to do something else, you can. If you want to go on the top, for example, and watch the show, you could do that.
Do I have a way of communicating with my apprentice up
absolutely.
at the top?
Oh yeah.
Somebody's going to need to make the undead dead again after all this has happened.
That's true.
He just drops a spell.
You just... if that's the case, I'll ask the question, where are you within the city?
He says, I'm not far from the palace wall.
Good. I would like you to change your direction.
Yes.
Take yourself as close as you can get to the palace. And ask them this message.
Yes.
There is an attempt on once again upon the Graf's life. And I tell him to explain all the pumpkin stuff.
Can you two do a podcast?
Yes. And off he goes.
And obviously I'm just stood there, blank of expression, as has been the entire time.
Meanwhile, at the watch captain. You don't look like you're in good shape there, Mum. Says, Hellstein. Far from home.
Oh, God.
Such a shame.
Stop her!
Severing him.
Such a shame. Meanwhile,
It's not my lucky day.
he's not here.
No.
Of course he's not here.
Just because he's seen weird stuff already tonight, he will stab the center of the pillow.
Good. Yep, nothing seems to be
Nothing.
there.
Cool. He's not going to linger, hang around. He's out and he's going towards where he knows Heinrich to be.
So, down, up,
get that
and we've got ourselves a trail of blood. She's either been dragged from here, or it's not a surprise she didn't leave a corpse in the middle of nowhere.
No, he clapped the carriage to move on.
And it slipped out.
What? She fell out of
Yeah,
the closed
she fell.
door.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I must have
Yeah.
the door,
yeah,
like
yeah.
in my attempt to escape.
indeed.
One problem at
And
a
it's
time.
definitely gone.
Yeah.
Over in the direction of that large penance. You're going to guess barracks.
One problem at a time. Even if she got up, it's a fatal wound
Oh,
to
yeah,
him.
definitely. She's dead.
So, yeah. So he's just going towards where he overheard.
Up towards the main palace.
Yeah.
Up towards there, you turn around and you see this.
Just
A
one
very-
single one.
A very pale individual making his way somewhat stiffly towards the front of the palace.
This is Apprentice.
But you-
As
you don't
he
know
stops
yet.
and he looks up towards the palace, and then looks over, and then starts walking towards the state army soldiers doing that. As he calls out, "Hell, assassinations!" he says, "are afoot," in a far stronger voice than he was using. "I have word to tell you." What are you doing?
Don't mind him. He's just had a bit too much cider. Come on, my lad. Come on.
And
With
he
me.
turns around and he looks at you and he goes, "I don't drink cider." And then in your head you hear, "The halfling is here. Master says, he says that I have been drinking cider.
You have not been drinking cider.
I think that is truth."
Do I know? Can conventional weapons harm
Him?
Yeah,
Not normally.
yeah, that's fine. Like, and from the fiction that I read,
Uh-huh.
I definitely read.
does hail have any sort of less than conventional weaponry that he uses?
Oh yeah, Hill does everything. You
Right.
name a way of killing, he's given
done
it a good go.
Okay, so he'll know how to take this sort of
yeah,
stuff
he's
out.
probably going to figure out.
Right. Okay.
Relatively short order too. He doesn't look the most alive of people
Okay.
because you're not close enough to make
Yeah,
him
yeah.
look alive. I mean, he's your apprentice.
I ponder to myself for a moment.
Someone attempts to foil us, my love.
And then I switch back to the apprentice. What's the strength? What's the strength of like the undead like? Are they good? Are they bad? Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Break him.
As he turns around and looks at you, says, "I am not his hand pushed out for you." What are you doing?
Dodging that,
The
obviously.
chances of him actually breaking you, I think, are super low, but you never know. I might get a crit. You might knuckle. Let's find out. I did not get a crit. I rolled 98.
Yeah, 29.
As the guards are like, "Steady on!" As they're coming up to grab him. They're like, "Whoa!" As he comes after you. He's not just drunk, he's on some sort of drug.
Shit.
As the other one comes over, oh well, Knight's Panther at the side. Folded his arms. It's not his job to deal with that.
Slip by.
Do yourself stealth test.
Oh, bollocks. I mean, oh, fine.
It's a success, but it's a 0-6.
Yeah, you're quite likely to be spotted. Oh yeah, you're likely to be spotted. As the Knight's Panther turns round and says, I don't think so, and puts his way. You can just dodge by if you want to go on the run, or if you want to take out the Panther, you could do that instead if you wish. What's your choice?
Scarper.
You're scarpering away or scarpering in?
Scarpering in.
In, yeah. So he's not expecting that at all. Odds are with you.
Crit.
Oh!
Go
Hold
get
on,
him!
for
Superb!
8 successes.
This old man halfling comes up, dodges down. He's like, "No, you don't just go in there." As he reaches out to grab you, and it's like, "What?" As you're like, pum, 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 and then hop up, clamber up the wall, and then you're over the top. Oh fuck! Fuck! Dong dong, dong dong, dong dong. On the other side, he says, well, "What's the problem? Look at them." As he's now making his way towards the palace, because he's chasing you very slowly. And they're sort of hanging on to him. Stabbing him with the dagger.
Just fine.
I think he's getting away, master. Meanwhile, where you are, doesn't appear that there's anyone causing any issues. It doesn't appear that anyone is going to cause any problems. You're now going up to watch, I presume, the rooms?
Yeah.
Oh! Interesting. There's a halfling bounding across the gardens,
Interesting.
tearing at a remarkable pace.
He's ahead of schedule.
His cloak fluttering behind him as he goes flying over towards the barracks over in the corner.
Which is where I know Heinrich is, so
Yeah,
I've seen
quite.
that there's been a change of plans. So,
There has, very much so.
but you're on
Yeah.
target, so that's fine.
Where you are, the door opens. So what do we have? It's a oh shit, that's a Hellstein. No, it's a Hellstein. I think she's died.
Can I speak at all?
No. As he says,
You can look very cross.
look at what she's wearing. He says, that's Lady Adelaide. He says, Mother Adelaide. Oh shit, she's there some more. He says, oh, I'm very sorry. I mistook you for someone else. Weak. She wanted to go, she pointed, take her to a bloody place.
Bloody place.
You're taking off.
Great.
Yeah, that's great. Everything's exactly where you want them. Everything's getting into place.
Good.
Everything is going.
Good.
Yeah. You reach over towards the other side. Guards are moving around. You're now having to hide behind stones and then scarper down between a tree. The alarm is up. Occasional call of it might be a demon. It
They're
has
still
climbed the
dealing with
wall.
this thing at the front.
They are. Someone's gone in the palace. Where is it? Nobody knows. And they're all crumpling around. What's your plan?
So he's going to hope to use this to his advantage and hope that it would draw Heinrich from his room.
It does not. He is asleep.
Okay.
He's been a very busy boy this evening.
He only overheard Jasper talk about he's in his room. Wasn't really like
Look, he was really specific.
She
Oh,
wasn't
was
really
she?
specific to somebody who doesn't know the palace.
Yeah.
She
She
said
was-
down by the
she
Middenheim
was
fields. For me.
Specific for someone who knows it well.
Right, gotcha.
But you've never been here.
Yeah.
So
But the
for
Midden
you,
Ball Fields, I think, is
Yeah,
there's
it
going to
is,
be a
because
couple
only-
of different ones.
There's
but-
only one inside
Oh.
Palace grounds, so that
Yeah.
makes it a lot easier.
And I did see the
and
tower
she did
by the
see
big
tower.
gate.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Interestingly, that one over there has got his flag up over it.
Wow. That makes the
Seems
most
the
sense to
obvious
try
choice.
first.
So as we go flying up, there is a group of Knights Panther there. Not 1, 7. And they are looking pretty vigilant. You're off in the dark. You've got all the choices you wish to have. You want to go around, up walls, go a different route if you wish to go so, or try to go through all 7, which you're not entirely convinced you will. You wouldn't be happy going against 1, really, because you don't like going against anyone if you can
he
avoid
wants
it.
to plan it all.
Yeah, exactly. This is all going a little bit tits up.
Yeah, but he's going to make the most. He's going to keep moving rather than stop.
So what's the plan?
He's going to attempt to just get around them whatever way. Like, are they clumped? Is that what you're
Yes, they're
saying?
standing by the door at the bottom.
Okay, so
but
you can't go in the
there's
door.
probably another exit
Yeah, there's going
or
to
entrance
be
high up
somewhere
on the
higher.
walls, so you could try and find a way up and round if you wish to do so.
Yeah.
So he goes up to try and find an alternative route onto the way in. I do wonder how this one's all going to pull out. I do wonder. Right, so everything's getting into place. You could detonate now. You're not supposed to. Indeed, you're not supposed to for another couple of hours. They're expecting you to detonate another couple of hours if you've got enough. You've got enough to blow the palace now.
She'll turn around because
He's off.
Are you off?
There
I'm
anymore.
on
He's
your
not-
own.
you're
I'm on
not
my
doing
own.
all the bits. There's like
I'm
slowly
literally
going-
just stood
he's
like in
all
the
way
middle of-
back. Yeah, he's like all the way back now. You are where you are. If you wish to let it go, you can let it go.
Because I can't hear any of the like bells ringing or anything like that right from
can't.
here.
No reason to.
There's no reason to at the moment, so probably not.
You sure? You get your kill.
You go up though, right?
She's a fanatic, so.
Oh, okay. Everybody has got something else.
I'll do just the first part.
The first part.
Little taste.
Little piece.
You're getting carried
And a
round
moose boosh.
as the Hellstein mansion goes up.
Oh,
Because she's the Todbringer plant.
Bloody todbringers.
An enormous explosion as the vast majority of the Hellstein family that were in Middenheim for
Including the
the
newly
carnival.
legitimized bastard. What a shame. Birdie, we hardly knew ye.
Sadly, she is not there. That would have been hilarious.
Father, I have come home.
She inherit immediately.
Boom! Goes off as you caught in horror. As you're being wheeled in a car. As they fall back and you slide off the back of the car to the ground. As they're all and stone showers down. It lashes over where you are. Bits of brick cracking off walls. Where you are, yep, that's probably the palace going up. They've gone early. And I think I am about to. Oh, he's probably been killed.
right, okay.
Took a while.
Yeah.
Might have been the explosion. He was probably in the explosion. And I think that confirms the palace has probably gone up.
Right, excellent.
Good news. Yep, that one's gone. Excellent.
I mean, I can't speak, and I'm like practically dead. So I mean, I guess I'll just
Lie there.
Demorian cry.
Mum it
Probably
out.
not. One tear,
Act with your body, Lindsay.
just one tear.
One tear. That's not where the bomb was meant to go off.
A
That's
raven.
not where the bomb was meant to go off.
A raven's cry of absolute fury rings out from this peak. Fury. No. Thank you. I was hoping you would do that because you
That raven swoops down to where?
well out of the way of the explosion. just because it didn't work this time doesn't mean that it can't. Something else can't be done. Live to fight another day.
It's just getting our calibration in. That's all.
So,
Was that the full explosion, or was that just a bit of it?
We don't know, Ed. We don't know.
so where you are, the palace hasn't gone up. You're in the grounds.
Hopefully
A few
not.
hours early. You're in the grounds that might be bombed. you're in a dangerous place, you're concerned that discretion may be the better part of valor here. You've not been caught, you've not been recognized, you don't have a time limit on when they have to die. It's not like you have to kill them today.
Yeah. It's a good distraction.
It really
but
is. What if the second one goes off
Yeah.
and it's here?
he's going to go back to the warehouse. Because he knows that's where the dwarf
So
is
getting
going.
out, that's going to take 3 D100 rolls, and I'm going to bounce it off on mine. He's very
so
good at what he does.
75,
Yep, good.
34,
Yep.
and 72.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay, he darts along the walls, goes by the maze, hops up on the top, breaks through parts of it, runs through the maze.
Cheating.
Turns out it doesn't take that long to get through it.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
He doesn't beat Elric's time though. Hikes over the wall at the back, then climbs up the wall along the main walkway, walks behind 2 Knights Panther for about 30 seconds as they're walking forward in their full armour, not hearing a
What are
thing.
their helmets?
One of them is from behind, it looks like a beastman, and the other one from behind has got wings, you're not sure what it is. As you go back, get around a corner, and then hop, scale it down on the other side, tuck in your belly, and then hike it into the main city.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
So, you can't pray when you've got no voice, right?
That's correct. It's a bummer.
Dan feels terrible. Literally just destroyed Lindsay's chance to roleplay. Like, yeah, I enjoy your vocal cords.
You can do some very expressive gurgling. Very good.
You could write.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to write.
So,
You two are all
the
dead!
palace has probably been blown up. What's your plan?
Do I have a way of making myself incorporeal?
Oh, yeah.
Lovely! Love it. Then I shall make myself incorporeal, pretty please, and I shall be lifted by the ghost of my lover up to the top area.
And the palace is still there.
Right. That's fine. There's no problems with that at all.
Do yourself a cool test, please.
Is it because I'm cool?
It's because she's
I
not
rolled
happy.
90.
That's not a good roll against a crit. As you go up, and she's behind you, and then howls like a banshee upon seeing that. You lied, and starts tearing into you.
Oh,
I've learned best not to get involved in these kind of
Yeah.
things. Just let it play out.
just levitating
Yeah.
in the middle of the sky.
Big ghosty thing getting torn apart by your own.
Cool.
Can I see this from my perch?
Yeah, probably terrifying.
Is she visible?
She's just a
Caw.
bird. Caw, caw, caw.
No,
No.
It's a lover.
In lover?
It's part of the ghostly, let's say, apparel upon which
Yeah,
you fly.
yeah.
As you lying back down by the warehouse looking up at him. He's not that far away from the warehouse. He's lifted up and he's looking up and he starts off and then the howling and the screaming and now they're tearing into each other. What's
I'm
even
out
going
of
on?
here. I'm done with all of
Do
this.
you want to set your second bomb off?
Do I know that I've been successful?
Oh yes, you know exactly how successful you've been. You're just not sure when to time the second one. Now seems as good a time as any. Go on.
Where's the second one?
I suspect.
I guess. So
Boom goes the warehouse. Now the question is, did you get there in time? And we're going to dice it off to see. Okay, he's a pretty spry old man.
Well, I had
Now,
intended
I
to
did
warehouse,
say
but he's
I'm
the
getting
wrong
too old for
warehouse.
this shit.
Yes, you did.
So maybe he
So,
walked a bit slower back.
I'm gonna roll a d10. If you roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 1, 2,
Keep
3, 4,
going.
5. I
It's
don't know
not
this.
that.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're fine. 6, 7. You're on the edge of the blast. 8, 9. Oh, boom.
It's an 8.
As he's making his way down, cursing, cursing. Then he.
Stab this dwarf.
Boom! Boom! Fire! Boom!
oh,
Fire! Yes.
yeah.
Where's my fate point?
You priest them more.
Yes.
Oh well. Yeah, no, you're not doomed either, sadly.
Oh.
But
In
you
it.
You might survive. Might. Roll a die. If you roll a 6, you survive.
No, it's a 9. I can turn it
Upside
around
down,
and make
but-
it a 6.
Find it, yeah.
Nope. That's not how it works.
Pity.
That's a lot of burnt feathers.
Yes.
As you creep your way off
But
to the palace, where Heinrich Todbringer waits for you, who you've been working for all along. You met him up at Brass Keep.
Yeah.
And you and he got on. You are probably going to die.
you think?
Your fate point allows you to survive, and that was nice. But I am going to just leave it down to pure random chance as to whether you survive or not. Roll 1d10.
Okay.
If you roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're dead. You roll a 6, 7, or 8, you are permanently disfigured. If you roll a 9, hey, it could be worse. Roll a 10, more is clearly with you.
More's chilling. It's an 8.
Oh, not dead. Good try. You almost got her.
Yeah.
So close.
I mean, she's horribly disfigured, so that's okay.
She is indeed horribly disfigured.
I mean, I don't
That just
really
adds
like
to it,
have
though, no?
anything to like. But
And you've got a weird voice.
it would be cool if she could never speak again. She was cut off from her prayers no more.
Now, the final question is, do you set off the third set of bombs? The ones that have been carefully placed under the palace. Because it would be best if Heinrich had no rivals. And this is going to be randomized too, because this is actually killing people who are not bad. And that actually takes a bit of choice. Roll a die. On a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you blow up the palace. A Middenheim palace goes boom! If you roll a 6, 7, or 8, you completely buckle, and you're not happy that you buckle, and you break down, and it doesn't go well for her. Roll a 9, she just goes, I'm not doing that, that's wrong. If you roll a 10, you realise that Heinrich has used you.
And that the Jagers are in the castle.
No, you've not realised that at all.
Not all of them.
No, we realise that,
Presumably,
Andy.
if this bomb goes off, it's not as big an explosion because Heinrich's like literally in there.
We'll see.
Oh, okay, right, fine.
It
She might
depends-
kill him by
It
accident.
depends if she
He's not in the
listens to me
palace,
where
he's
she
got the
put
outside
them.
walls.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay,
but you said originally
The
the
palace is so big
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Here we go. We're just gonna lie. Oh, it's a 10! Oh!
It's a 6.
Ooh!
Okay,
Okay,
not happy
it
about
doesn't go. It doesn't go.
I
And she's
break
like there,
down.
and she's about to do it, and she breaks down.
You're a bad dwarf.
No, she's a good dwarf.
No, she finds out she's bad.
Right. So
Bad dwarf, bad
so
dwarf.
she's still going. There were some Skaven
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
who were persuaded to come up here for the big booms that the other Skaven.
Come on, my people. I mean,
Oh, wouldn't.
sorry.
I'm going to roll a dice for them. If I roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, they're going for those bombs
Next time.
through you,
Okay.
Aye.
and they're setting them off.
Oh, wow.
obviously.
If I roll a 6, 7, or 8, they just go for you. If I roll a 9 or a 10, you'll see.
Take him home.
It's a 5? Such bad dice.
What does that mean?
It's a fight between the dwarf and the Skaven. You are defending your own bombs from the 3 Skaven that come in. Opportunistic. Do they surprise you?
It's a 77.
Well, I've got a feeling that they are not very stealthy with a roll of 98, so you are going to spot them. So
Okay.
it's just going to be down to roll your dice. Can we roll?
19.
0, 9. Okay, so one comes up and a dagger flicks out. You back off, grab it with your hand because you can, and just yank. That makes it go. As the one at the side darts over that way, causing you to twist as its tail darts in from the other side and attempts to stab you at the side. Do a roll. Let's see if you catch that.
71.
Okay, which you do. As it goes off to that side, you just twist. It goes through the cloth of that as you just take your fist and punch in the first one in the square of its fleshy nose. Let's see how that goes. It might go. Skip, you're just hilarious.
38.
Brave Skip.
As you go, poof, and it's one of those moments where slow motion really does pay off. As that nose goes, poof. Squeeze up. The flesh goes out to either side. Its eyes go. As a tooth flies off to one side, and then its nose breaks that way. It falls backwards as you just twist round, your cloak flying up to hopefully cause distraction. There's still 2 left. Let's see how you do in this one.
58.
Oh, you're well ahead. As it skips forward and thrusts forward with a rusty blade in turn, it just goes straight through your cloak into the area where you're not, giving you an opportunity to fight back.
So nice to have a character that can fight.
I think they fumbled.
13.
It's a second fumble. As you just get your fist and bash downwards into its shoulder, and there's an audible crack as its collarbone snaps, blood spurts, Skaven backs off, flees off in that direction. The last one goes, "This was a mistake, I regret my life decisions," and runs.
Nice.
Fucking dwarfs, man.
Nicely done.
Best.
Yeah.
Thanks. You just have to hope the one that runs doesn't go get more people.
Yes.
Do I have a chance to command my little zombie army to try and set it off underneath?
Yes.
Yes.
It's going to be a dice roll.
That's fine.
And this dice roll is going to be the balance between, do you manage to control them for long enough before you're eviscerated?
Yeah.
And if you succeed, you do. If you fail, you're kind of dead again.
That's fine. At this moment in time, in our slow-mo environment, the Cure's Love Will Tear Us Apart is obviously playing.
Just to be clear.
Technically,
Absolutely.
that's Joy Division.
It's a Joy Division.
Pretty sure it is.
Yes.
Oh, well, you know, whatever. One of those.
You just made a fool of yourself, Ed.
That's fine.
Clip
I've
that.
done that many times
What
on
would
this show.
Spider-Man say?
What about...
Your die roll! Don't roll it! Don't do it, Dad! So you know at least what you've got to look for. 1 to 5,
Control the
you
dice.
are eviscerated. Eviscerated completely. 6 or 7, you manage to get some of it off and will be dicing down on her side. 8 or 9, it's likely to go boom. Which it'll be a test basically, as into whether you do it. 10, it goes.
10! Yeah! He just killed the party.
Why are you happy about this?
We need Andy to never not show up for a week. Bad things happen when we don't have an adult.
I should have waited until you said it, but still, I'm excited.
Maybe Daddy cried. I told you were gonna blow.
Middenheim is gone.
And the right clander plot to blow up the palace succeeds.
I spelled that, you motherfucker.
Oh, dear.
And the barrels go boom. As you're fighting off against the Skaven, doing your very best, you beat them down, and then you turn round and the corpses are coming out. And you've got about 2 seconds to run.
I guess I'll try it.
Yeah, if you roll a 10, you will get away.
I'll run towards him and try and stop it.
Yeah, that'll work. When he rolled a 10.
Yeah, you're convinced you can't reach it in time.
Yeah.
It's always railroad.
All you need to do is go around the corner. But it's only a 10.
Okay. 3.
Heinrich's agent goes boom! From the outside, having successfully got you to do what she wants, she devours your soul.
Aww. I regret
So am I like the only one alive?
As the strangled ghost of Heinrich Todbringer's second wife rises high and looks over at the devastation wrought in the palace. And
Boris Todbringer.
feels good. Boris, did I say Heinrich?
You said yeah.
Boris!
Just do the whole thing again.
And
Ed rolls his dice.
it never happened.
Yeah.
And the oh, what a night! And the actually exhilarated and delighted ghost, now quite full of the souls of its once lover, of Heinrich Todbringer's wife. I just can't. I have to say it twice to do it wrong. It's Boris Todbringer's second wife,
The cultist.
the cultist.
The one who was defenestrated.
The one who was defenestrated
What a great
looks
word.
on at her triumph and then begins to hear the screams of the demons that are coming for her soul. And she looks around and sheer horror hits her.
Oh, unlucky.
Down below.
I would say the ghost.
Down below,
Yeah.
you're sitting half broken on the street. Boom! Off in the distance. Boom! And then at the palace, it went. And in the centre of the palace, the very palace where you're all staying, we have a very large explosion. I am going to let a dice roll determine how close you are to it.
Odie's not in the palace proper.
She goes back to her own rooms
Hey.
on the night
Hey, Kat.
after the thing.
Fuck
My
off.
room's in there.
They're in the palace. You don't get to use
Oh,
them.
yes,
You know?
'cause of the suite.
Yeah, we discussed it in the stream.
Mm.
Yeah.
Pity.
Right.
Damn.
Right. So, I know where one of you is. You all have royal apartments here. You have been out, but you're back in as well because you're preparing to go for the next morning. You're probably already awake because it's now nearing the early
There's
morning.
been 2 explosions.
Well, I mean, you won't have been woken up by the
Yeah, yeah.
explosions and all the rest down in the city. You'll be up. I'll let you each roll a d10. 1 is bad, 10 is good.
I
And I'm going to add +1 to you because I know where your room is,
Yep.
which is over in the west wing.
I swear, Ed. I'm gonna.
10!
That's what I care
I'm
about.
gonna run you over in my car.
I may regret that 10 now.
Oh, I thought that was a 1. It was a 7.
7, good, good.
I'm not good.
And
Really?
A 2.
a 2, so that's a 3.
Explosions are fire.
How
3.
dare you?
9.
I rolled a 6.
9.
You got a 9. You coach, you got a 9.
What did Lucas get?
Lucas isn't there. He's somewhere else.
Lucas is there.
Fuck, Lucas!
Hey, Ed.
Lucas got a 4 to a 5. No, 4. No, just 4 for him.
Yeah.
What those numbers mean?
Can I spend anything to make it better?
Not yet.
Damn it.
What those numbers mean will be determined in episode 45. When Andy is there and he gets to swear at all of them.
Party!
So, until next time.